that move now this festive season to your new home address at GHS Housing Estate. From now to 31st January 2023, we are offering you an amazing 5% buyer's discount on all purchases on our expandable 1, 2, 3 and 4 bedroom detached homes at Cochrane Villa, Pokwase, just 5 minutes drive from the interchange. The Mayflower and the new Hazel Courts at Kuntusi, 20 minutes drive from Achimatamo. Beautiful homes in a serene and gated community with flexible payment plans available. Call us now on 0544 347 980 or 0544 347 981. GHS Housing Estates. View it, love it, own it.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for star, R for radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow, and a very good evening and welcome once again to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I say welcome. It's just exactly 6 minutes past 1800 hours. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and I'll be running through to you tonight, quite a lot of information on how, whatever you need to know. We'll be speaking more of our language tonight because the message tonight is going to be directed to a lot of our Yorubas that are living in the United Kingdom and the Yorubas that are living across the globe, as tomorrow kickstart the next available flight, to the super mega rally that has been announced, last week Wednesday, right here in the studio with the one and only, Dr. Sunday Adeyemo. I say good evening to all our listeners, our viewers from around the world as you are joining us. I say welcome to Star Radio UK. The way it's going to go tonight, we're going to start our presentation. We will explain the reason why our Yorubas, indigenous people, are asking for the right to self-determination. We will explain that, and then we will start going into the conversation. We will open the phone line tonight as well, because quite a lot of our listeners ask a lot of questions that they are concerned about regarding the Yoruba movement and whether there is no more movement because of so many activities that is actually going on. There is a lot happening. But the most important thing is we are here on the Star Radio UK network where we'll be giving you everything you need to know. I say good evening to my producer, Mr. Frank David, and Mr. Archie Hammond. These are the team, that runs the show, every Monday to Friday when we discuss the issues on the update from Nigeria. I'll be giving you some of those updates as well, but there's a lot that we have to discuss tonight. And I say good evening and welcome to the program. If you're joining me for the first time, and you've never been on this program before, this is what we call Niger Voices. I've been doing this for the last 5 years. It's one of the best programs that you can think of when it comes to the African Channel radio station in London, where we discuss issues affecting different Africans, but most especially Nigerians. But the authenticity of Nigerians, or the authenticity of the name Nigeria, is now being questioned by the indigenous people from the Biafra, the indigenous people from the Edo, the indigenous people from the Middle Belt. They are asking the question, why did the British government or the British Empire, who gave them the audacity, who gave them the right, to put me as a Yoruba man, and decided that I will be called a Nigerian, and everybody think it is cool in 21st century. This is the reason why the Yoruba people are speaking up on a daily basis to say now, hold on, why are we bearing the name that was given to us by the colony, by the colonial master, that we are no longer under their rules? We are no longer under their rules, but the British government are very, very, they're very cunning, just like the cunning way. Oh, there's nothing wrong in being a Nigerian as long as you have a good leader that is, whether they are stealing money and they bring it here, whether they have access to get to UK, as we're going to be discussing Ike Kirimadu, as we know that he's no longer going to be given a bill, and that means he's not spending Christmas with his family back here in UK. So a lot of these are the questions that people are asking. Why should me be given a name Nigerian? Can I give the same name to anyone that is English? Can I name a new country and say that everyone let me give an example. If you're from Germany, can I give you your own name? And these are the reason why the right to self-determination that is being put forward by the leaders of the Yoruba self-determination movement as asking that it is now time for the Yoruba people, the indigenous people, to come out in their mass millions in almost every part of Yoruba land. But what they've started with is, they started the movement of these about 3.5 years ago. And the movement have literally grown a lot. And in between that, we've lost people that have died in the movement as well. So if you are not familiar with what is going on in Nigeria, let me tell you, we the indigenous people, that I am part of them as well, and I believe that it is the right to self-determination. It does not mean that we are taking arms against the federal government of Nigeria. It does not mean that this is something that is not allowed. We've explained all these on this platform, on Star Radio UK and all our sister platforms. But there's something that is going to be happening tomorrow, which is all happening in what we call Oyo State. If you look at Oyo State, as we know today, I'll give you a bit of the background to that as well. Some of you that are in other African countries might not understand that as of today, when we talk about the biggest city in Africa, you would definitely have to pick Ibadan. But a lot of people probably will not know these, because we have been locked into what is called Nigeria, which is the map behind me. I say good evening to all the Star Radio presenter, and I say welcome once again to our listeners that have joined us on all the platforms. If you're watching me on Twitter, remember to follow the Star Radio UK. It is very, very important that you follow the Star Radio UK on Twitter. Follow us on all the social media handle. Once again, my name is Olayomi Koiki. We're also broadcasting from the sister broadcasting that is connected to Star Radio UK. I would like to say thank you so much to everyone that have joined us so far. 13 minutes past, and it is now less than 24 hours before everybody will be heading towards the city or your state. But there's also a lot of people that are complaining that we should get this rally out in every part of Yoruba land, and that will make a big difference. Sorry for those of you that are watching us. We probably didn't release, the video image, but that will be coming up in just about a few minutes. For those that are watching us, we probably forgot to release the video image, but definitely, that is coming up in just about a few minutes. And here, there it goes. It's come back on right now. My name again is Olayomi Koiki. I say good evening to everyone that have joined us, and I hope you would have a lovely time with me tonight. One thing we need to understand is, when we talk about freedom, freedom is not something that is given to you like it's served, in a restaurant where you order the dessert, you order the main course, or maybe you start with the dessert, or you start with the main course, or probably you should start with the starter. I worked in the hotel for more than 10 years. And that is something that I enjoy a lot, because you see the kind of settings, when the preparation is going on, the right way to put the cutlery is very, very important for those of us that work in the hotel industry. But those that are asking the question is, do Yoruba people have the right template, to exit out of Nigeria? And some have also argued that the only template that you can get is by having a referendum, and that referendum will give us access to let us decide whether we want to go out of Nigeria as well as the Biafra. But the question is, we are not dealing with a civilized country here now. We are dealing with a country that, as much as you might not understand, there's no rule of law. There's nepotism, there's subjugation, and the tendency that you will get a freedom in Nigeria without what we can call a push, that chances are very, very slim. And that is the reason why everybody is not really focusing their mind in what we call the Yoruba Nation movement, especially some of the Yorubas that are still arguing that a 2023 general election is the best option on the table. But the question then is, on what constitution are you going to be governed with? I was looking at the headline this morning, and it seems already that there's a lot of people that are now becoming a little bit weird about whether an election will hold next year. Some have even quoted me as saying that, oh, we would go for the election in 2023. I say good evening once again to those of you that have joined us from around the globe. And my name is Olayomi Koiki, and you're live with me on one of the finest African and Caribbean radio stations in London. Since we have been discussing the issue of whether the Yoruba should remain in Nigeria or not, I have always been on the path that the Yoruba people should leave Nigeria, and that should happen in 2022. But for that to happen, there must be some kind of action. Those action is not something you discuss on the social media. It has to be on the ground. And that is why tomorrow, right in Oyo State, we are holding the next super rally. But the concern about a lot of our people back home is the transportation to mobilize people to Oyo State is quite expensive, as we know that Nigeria today is not doing very well in terms of the economy. An average Nigerian do not have 2,000 naira. So if you're telling people to travel from almost different part of the state to congregate somewhere, it's also going to cost money. And these are the reasons why people are saying that our leaders should now allow every state to be activated as quickly as possible. But we still have to wait until that is going to happen. But for the time being, let's take a look at the population in Oyo State. We get the same population in Ogun State, but we did not get as many people that are meant to come out. Maybe they are still thinking that freedom will be given to them, on the dining table. And nobody's coming to help anybody. It is our right to make sure that we ask, and we make sure we get that as quickly as possible. According to what we have, when we look at the population in Oyo State, from the last census that we probably will not be able to recognize when was the last census, the last population count is what I'm going to be taking you back as far back as what we know in 2006. There's no current census in Nigeria, and nobody knows how many of us in the southwest, talk less of how many of us in the southeast. There's more killings going on in Nigeria. The question is, do we still have the federal government? And why is the military moving around in their vehicle? Is it that the plan and the right stage to the coup is now getting closer? because we know that the military are still making every effort to take over Nigeria. And behind me with the image that is coming up right now, this was in Ibadan, where Ojo Barracks, some more military personnel were brought down, and maybe because of the rally tomorrow, but that is not going to stop the rally tomorrow, because the rally goes ahead. And let me say this clearly to everyone that is watching us. This is an international platform, and that literally means that according to the international law, you also have the right to defend yourself. We are not asking anybody to carry any kind of weapons and attack the military, the security personnel. But at the time that anybody would attack you, you would also have the right to do the same thing to defend yourself. And that is something that we need to make clear to the federal government, that there is still time and there's still room to give the Yoruba people exactly what they want. But a lot of people say that is not going to happen, because Nigeria is not that civilized country like any other countries across the globe. So tomorrow, it is all going to be happening in Oyo State, where the next phase of the rally continue. And I say good evening once again for those of you that have joined us. I will be giving you exactly where in Oyo town where this event is going to be happening, and it's going to be taking place at exactly Oja Akeson from 9 o'clock. It's not a one-day rally tomorrow, so that means people will be sleeping over, and there might be more rollover. Let us just take note of that. But until then, we will wait for further instruction. But as the Yoruba self-determination continue, let's touch about some of the other concern going on in Nigeria, and then we will go back into the conversation speaking our language so that we can get the message, clearly to those of our listeners from around the world. My name again is Olayomi Koiki, and I say good evening and welcome to your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Good evening to my mom, good evening to my family, good evening to all lovers of freedom. Good evening, as we also continue to tell the federal government that also Nigeria must now release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal. He hasn't committed any crime. As we say, the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, also known as the Congo Conference or the West African Conference, which everybody has actually been talking about for some time, regulated the European colonization and the trade in Africa during the new imperialism period, and coincided with Germany's sudden emergency as the imperial power. The conference was actually organized by Otto von Bismarck, the first Chancellor of Germany. Its outcome, the General Act of the Berlin Conference, can be seen as the formalization of the scramble for Africa. And it seems everybody were just scrambling for whatever part they can get out of Africa. And today, every one of us that have been called Nigerians are not truly Nigerians. We are not who we are told we are, and we need to now take back exactly what belongs to us in terms of our real identity. And this is why we are saying that should we remain in Nigeria, our real identity will no longer be known to the real people across the globe. So if you are still of those views that the Yorubas should remain as Nigerians, then you are actually losing your own real identity. It is British Empire, the British colony, through Lugard, that actually gave us the name Nigeria. And the Yoruba people are speaking with one voice, even though people are still saying that we are no longer speaking with one voice, because it seems that all our leaders that we are listening to are doing exactly whatever they want to do, and it's creating a lot of division among the Yorubas. And we're going to discuss about that tonight as well. Because today, I've actually made it 1 month from the declaration of the Yoruba as a country, according to one of our leaders, Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri. But the argument has been that what is the next thing? They've actually talked about the claiming back of the country, but there's not enough evidence of how that is going to happen. But for those of you that are following the Yoruba self-determination movement, depending on which side you are, People are saying that if we have declared as a country, that means the paperwork is going. Does that guarantee also that it will be finished before the end of this year, or it will still be extended to 2023? Because those arguments continue to come into the limelight of the self-determination movement. If we have declared the Yoruba nation at exactly a month ago, and we are now being told that the next phase of that declaration is reclaiming back the country, and a lot of those that have been following us on this conversation have asked the question, how do you reclaim a country? Some even argue that we don't have to reclaim anything because we have never had a true country in the first place. So if we are saying that, good evening to you, those of you watching us in Texas, in Japan, in Turkey, in Toronto, in New York, and those of you that are almost making your way now to Oyo State, where the next rally is going to hold. And this has been now a major concern to so many Yoruba people, because they are saying that if the Yoruba people have declared their independence, that literally means that more countries around the world is aware of that declaration, but the question is, the declaration is not yet active officially on the ground in Nigeria. Because if you travel to Nigeria, you are still traveling with a Nigerian passport. You are still going to engage with everything that's got to do with the current system in Nigeria. But we are told also that this is a gradual process. And the question tonight is this gradual process also going to lead to 2023, or are we just going to remain in 2022? Because today now makes it 21 days out of December. And if you look at the time right now, which is coming up to almost 6:30 p.m. here in UK, and if I look at the calendar right here in the studio, it is now almost let's take away today. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We literally have 10 days. The question is, the declaration, the reclamation, is it going to be very active that the Yoruba people will take control back of their country without violence? Because if I'm going to walk into the military barracks and tell them to move out, or we want to reclaim the barracks, is that not going to be a confrontation with the federal government? And these are all the questions that is coming on the table every day and night. Let's go straight now to the next leadership, which is Professor Banji Akintoye. He has actually said he disagreed that that declaration should be done without his consent. People then say that you can't come and tell us that you have to give us that declaration. Anybody among the Yorubas have the right to declare the Yoruba. Now, let's take you back. The movement of the Yoruba self-determination started 3 years ago with Professor Banji Akintoye, whether perfect, ugly, or good. And according to what we know, is still the current leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, and also the leader of Ilana Omodua worldwide. Was Baba Akintoye, given, the information ahead of the declaration? He has actually come out on a live broadcast to say he wasn't aware of that declaration, and that literally means that quickly become a flag to a lot of Yorubas. The Yorubas are now asking the question is, why was the declaration done without the consent of someone like Baba Akintoye being carried along? And as we have been told by Chief Mrs. Moduponitiri, she's actually saying that we are now forming an interim government. Remember that Baba Akintoye have already said that he has nothing to do with that declaration. And that literally means that he would have to do his own declaration at some point that we are still waiting for. And that means that people are asking that, is that going to happen in the next 10 days? And you can see these are all the situation that is going around, what the British government actually did. Because all this problem that we are facing today would not be there if the British government, the British Empire, the British colony, as at 1914, have left us the way we are as the Yoruba kingdom. Nobody in 2022 will now be arguing about whether we should have a declaration, whether we shouldn't have a declaration. And if that declaration is something that is going to be valid, then should we then say that Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri should now also continue that declaration but must now engage Baba Akintoye, or should she just continue without that engagement? But last week we had the voice that we have been waiting for. And what is the voice? The voice of what is going to happen in terms of, the next phase that is meant to have started, but for one reason or the other, it has been delayed, according to a lot of people. And that is the super rally. What do we understand by the word super rally? And what is the reason for having a super rally in the midst of everything that is happening, even though there has been a lot of disagreement and agreement whether the declaration should be stand, whether the declaration should be invalid. But Chief Mrs. Modupe says that nobody can do any more declaration. The question is that true, that nobody can do any more declaration even though one has been done? This is what the British government have done to the Yoruba people. Let us remember that there are still millions of Yoruba people with their PVC that are waiting to vote in 2023. It is becoming more interesting. This is Star Radio UK. This is just to refresh back the memories of those that are not probably from Nigeria and they're watching us for the first time on this platform and they're wondering what is actually going on in Nigeria. What is going on is those indigenous people that the British government put together are now saying they've had enough of the union in the last 62 years of the fake independence and 108 years fake marriage. But sometimes a marriage could be painful. And the painful part of it is who is going to gain and who is going to lose. So if we have got this information that is now a month that the declaration has been done, and I believe tomorrow, Chief Mrs. Modupe will be giving more explanation about reclaiming, even though it has not yet been very clarified. If we say reclaiming, should we just go to the immigration, office and shut it down? And the question is, if that is going to be the case, are we going to get a confrontation back with the Nigerian government? And this is a lot of concern that I'm getting every day. Every day, people are calling us and asking, what is going on with the Yoruba movement at this particular present time? Nobody is blaming any of the leaders. But is there something wrong somewhere? Or is it part of the script that they are playing among each other that some of us are not privy to? Is the question that people are asking. And across the world, all the Yorubas are now saying that it seems now that there is a division, and this division is having a big impact on the movement itself. And how do we resolve these? How do we bring it back to the round table where, Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri is having the same conversation just as Baba Akintoye, just as Igboho, just as also as so many other leaders, because it is not just those three leaders that we have. Let us remember that we have the Global Directorate, we have the Yoruba One Voice, we have the Central Office, we have the Yoruba Mega Nation Diaspora Mega Rally. If Baba Akintoye that was running the movement, whether good or bad, whether perfect or imperfect, was not carried along, should we then say that, oh, he should accept that declaration and move on, but is the other section going to move along even though they continue their work without consent of Baba Akintoye? Because if we are going to get an interim government, yes, we were told that there will be a transitional government. If I go back into what Baba Akintoye said on October 8th, he was asked, what next after the rally? Which is exactly the stage that we are in right now. We are already in the stage of the super rally that was being told to the Yoruba people as far back as almost 3 months ago. And tomorrow, the super rally takes us to Oyo Town, right there at Oja Akeson, as more people continue to arrive into that as well. But Bakintoye was asked under the question 9, based on the pending super rally, are we going to form a parallel government? He actually answered no. That would be, he actually answered no. But one thing he told us is, during that engagement is, immediately after the super rally and the declaration, we will have a transition government that will run for 1 year and election will hold. But can all this happen? And let's listen to this section now. Very, very important. Whether the declaration that was done in November 20, which has actually become a month. So that means as of today, to some Yoruba people, the nation is already 1 month old. Once again, a very good evening and welcome. If the nation is 1 month old, it still have a gradual process. And I'm not sure whether that gradual process will be completed to give us full access to run the government without the intervention or the attack, if you want to put it that way, or the confrontation, if that's what language you want to use, with the federal government of Nigeria. Are we going to tell all the governors to go out of the offices without any push? Is that possible? Because everybody knows that what super rally does, or what a rally does around the world is, at some point there will be what we call a confrontation between the citizen and the government of the day. And that is something that has happened in the history. If you go back into all the rallies that have been done for those that are asking for something legitimate to them, because it is not that we are not asking something that is legitimate. The question now is, there is still fraction that is making this to become a little bit concerned. If the declaration that was announced November 20, which is exactly 1 month ago now, if that is the valid, authentic declaration according to what they are telling us, then the question is, are we still going to still have the same Mrs. Onitiri continue to push in line with this declaration, with this interim government, and then what next is Baba Akintoye going to be doing? Is he just going to sit back and then accept it, or is he going to be asking questions, just as a lot of you that are watching us and calling us are asking the same question? Or maybe there's a script that is going on that we are not aware of. A very good evening once again to those of you that have joined us, and this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name again is Olayomi Koiki, and I welcome each and every one of you. It is not a problem, but the issue is, can we say that we are now 1 month into our country as the declaration, but there is still progress and more work to be done? But is this work going to still continue with just one of the leader, which is Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, or is it going to come in line with all the other leaders? And if it's going to come with just one person, then the question is, what about the other leaders? Should they just say, we have given up, and then we put our hands down and we allow Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri to continue running it and then allow it to flourish, and the Yoruba people will have their country in a full scale? Baba Akintoye told us with Chief Sunday Igboho, that Dr. Sunday Igboho, that there is going to be a super rally. That super rally kickstart, last week from Ogun State. Even though some people are now also saying that, oh, you can't just continue to run a super rally. What is the essence of this super rally when the country has been declared? But the question and the argument for those that are asking the question is, if the country has been declared, Nothing is showing for that because we're still in Nigeria and nothing has changed. Is there confusion in the trailer? Or is this just a part of the script that we don't know? Because if there's a script that is just to confuse the federal government, that would be good. We have a country, we are running a super rally, and maybe Baba Akintoye will just say, we're not going to declare, we'll just go with that declaration, or we're just going to have an interim government, but we are not going to carry Baba Akintoye. We don't know. These are internal things that sometimes happen behind closed door, which some of us are not probably privy to. But those of us that are outside are now asking this question: what is actually going on? Are we seeing disunity among all the leaders? And if that is the case, who is going to solve the problem? And if there's not going to be any more declaration, then at what point are we going to take the full control of that resources of that country known as the Yoruba nation? Yes, we can continue the paperwork. Paperwork is something that continues all the time. Taiwan has not become a member of the United Nations and they are still running the paperwork. But that does not guarantee that Taiwan will become a member of the United Nations General Assembly or United Nations. We are not saying that the United Nations will authorize us to become a nation. We have declared our nation. There's nothing wrong in that. But at what point are we going to have the full access of that country is the question, without any sort of confrontation. Okay, go and take over, any government institution. It is normal. As long as everybody understands that whatever is going to happen, we will all defend that and we will protect that, because that is exactly what we want. Even those that keep saying that Baba Akintoye is taking them to 2023, but the declaration that has been done under 1 month does still not guarantee you a country, because you are still Nigerians. Because according to the international community, Nigeria as of today is still a sovereign country. And President Muhammadu Buhari was in the United States of America just last week, and he was welcome as a Nigerian. Whether they've actually now say, well, we've now got a declaration letter that says that the Yoruba people are now one country, even though America hasn't announced it, they've not backed it up. And I remember that America has actually, in history, quickly backed some countries when their declaration was made. Why they have not backed our own is something that we don't know. So those that keep coming every time to say that, oh, but we were told that we would be going out in Nigeria in 2022. Yes, but are we also going out of Nigeria with the declaration? So far, nothing has yet been done, but the question is, in 10 days, if 5 million people come out onto the street of the Yoruba land, then the world will understand that the Yoruba people are demanding and asking for their right to self-determination. And it will be very difficult. At this point, it is still difficult for the federal government, to want to take, an attack against those that are going out for the super rally. But when it gets to a stage, trust me, the federal government will roll out and it will become more interesting. So those that are saying that we have actually declared and there's nothing, nothing is wrong in that, well, it's good to say that. But in the actual layman, is that you're saying. But in reality, a lot of international community still look up to Nigeria as a country because there's still operation going on under Nigeria. None of your banks today is still issuing you with any domination. All that we know might take time. This is why we must not get ourselves confused that even the declaration is going to guarantee in 2022 up to not 2023. Because the declaration will still give you more time and more time for dialogue, for conversation, for the paperwork, and that will lead into 2023. The question is, how are you reclaiming Nobody has been able to explain the reclaiming. What are we going to reclaim? Are we going to be reclaiming again on the paperwork, or are we all pushing out just as we are doing right now on the super rally, and then that will literally shut down the country? But can we shut down the country where the three leaders are speaking in one voice? Or are we shutting down the country with the super rally or reclaiming? And if we are reclaiming, is that with the paperwork or with the people on the ground? Because if those that are saying that, oh, we don't want to have anything to do with the super rally, we are just reclaiming. How? How are you reclaiming? Are you going to be reclaiming on the social media, or you are going to be reclaiming by coming out to defend exactly what belongs to you? How are you reclaiming? Nobody has been able to explain the reclaiming. Yes, it's good that we want to reclaim back what belongs to us. There's not, the British has done so much damage to our psyche, and we're trying to reclaim that back from the marriage that they have put us together since 62 years of the independent, which is a fake independent. But the question is, how do you reclaim? Is it just by talking to the Yoruba people that we are reclaiming, or are we going to all say to our leaders they should come out with one voice and push everything together, and that would then make it a success? Because I'm not saying a success whether with the reclaiming, but there's still success with the super rally. And the reason for that is, the more that the super rally continue, it will get to a stage that the government will have no other option to want to react. But if we are going to reclaim without the government reacting, we have not done a country yet. All we have done is, we are still into the paperwork mode, and that means the country is still not fully in this advanced stage in 2022. Because there's 10 days to all this conversation. The rally is just until the third day, because the first one was in Ogun State, the second one was in Osogbo, and the next one now is coming to Oyo Town. We don't know where the next one is going to be and what is going to happen with the next super rally. It is easy. Is it easier said than done? Every part of the world, people think you can just, it's easy. We have said that the super rally will be coming out. It has come out. They have said that the declaration will be coming out. They've done the declaration. But the question is, how do we make all this to be materialistic? It's not just by saying it, but by seeing it, by feeling it is the next question. We can continue to talk about, Yoruba Nation now on the social media, and the government continue to run their operation. Whether the politicians in the Southwest that disagree with us, and they're still pushing for the 2023 agenda. But those are trying to link one particular leader to 2023, but yet the other leader have not actually also taken us out fully when it comes to the materialization of this country. Yes, they've declared it's only 1 month. And nobody has, said that they haven't done a declaration. But as that declaration giving the country fully in 2022, I don't think it's going to happen from what we are seeing so far. And if we are told that we have to reclaim and everybody needs to go out, and push, it's exactly the same thing that the super rally is almost going to do. And this is why we are still saying that the pyramid needs to join. If all the leaders are still not coming together quickly within the next couple of days, there is more frustration outside and inside the country. And that's the reality. Once again, a very good evening, and this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is how we do it every Wednesday. Shout out to all our friends that are watching us. A lot of your comment, I'll be picking those comments later on. But for now, let's continue, with the conversation. Should we get 1 million people out tomorrow? That sent a false signal outside Nigeria that it is true that that declaration, according to what we have been told, is something that they can look into. If the 1 million people doesn't come out and we continue to talk on the social media, we probably maybe, with the estimate, I don't know, the statistics of how many people are running, the self-determination movement conversation. Remember that there is 1 billion people on Facebook. Give and take, probably maybe about 5 million of us talking about the self-determination on the social media. But if we have 1 million of us outside anywhere in Yoruba land, either tomorrow or wherever, it will make a big impact to support both the declaration and also to support the reclaiming and also to support the force of the government to respond. Because if 1 million people are out, you are literally disrupting a system that is running, smoothly. Should 1 million people visit Lagos and Lagos stop operation for 24 hours, do you know how many airlines will lose money? Do you know how many functionality of things that will stop? These will become questions to the Nigerian government of what is actually going on, because our business operando in Nigeria is not moving freely. Let's talk about any of the airline coming from any part of the globe and they cannot land in Muritala Mohammed Airport because there's a lot of crisis in Nigeria in terms of 1 million people asking for one thing, the right to self-determination, to defend the declaration, to defend the reclamation, and to defend whatever we're thinking of. But if all this is not coming out, and then we are going to reclaim on the social media, the question is how? That is the question that people are asking. How? Is it possible that we just continue, to talk to each other? Are we talking to each other? Even though our leaders, all our leaders, and not just our leaders, even Iba Gani Adams wrote a letter, to United Nations. He's also a leader. So the question of whether we are communicating with the world, anybody can communicate with the world. We have received a lot of letters, from individuals that are writing to some of their, representative in America, in Canada, around the world, and they are replying back whether they agree with their views or not. So everybody is also a leader, but we just have to follow instruction from some certain people. We are not discrediting any leader, but the question here is, should we not move quickly as we are pushing right now? It will have a bad implication in the long run. And you cannot blame anybody for that, because if all the leaders are saying 3 different things, 5 different things, that means a lot of Yoruba people are saying, what is going on? You don't have a country when you do not take control back of power in that country. The first thing is you take control back. And if we're going to do that, we will need everyone in the Yoruba land to listen together to all the leaders, whether we agree with them or not, whether we disagree with them. And any of the leaders, Iba Gani Adams can also say he has actually have enough security to protect us under the OPC. So we will need him as well. Agbekoya would also be needed. The farmers, hunters will be needed, but we will also need every market women, all the fathers, all the young ones that have not been given the opportunity, where our identity has been eaten away. These are the questions that we need to quickly push in the next 10 days. And tomorrow, Oyo Town will kickstart the super rally as well. So if you are still in doubt, I understand that your movement to Oyo State, mobilization is a problem. People have been complaining that we want to move from Yewa. We have people, but we don't have the mobilization. We don't have the vehicle. We are not working. We don't have the money. And the question then is, maybe, just maybe, it is almost time now that all the state needs to be activated so that nobody's going anywhere. We then mix that. And this is where we are saying that it will force the system to grow into ground. And the moment the system goes into ground, they're expecting the federal government to kick in as well and start asking why. At the moment, we are not inconveniencing the government, whether you have declared or we have not declared, whether we are reclaiming. As far as the government is concerned, we are just not important. The government understands the importance of these from the international perspective, but we need to also tell the government that we are serious. We are not just talking on the social media, because what we are doing is our right and that right must be respected by the federal government of Nigeria. Once again, a very good afternoon and welcome once again. As we say, we welcome you into the conversation, and I say good evening to those of you that have joined us so far. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a short, interlude, and when we come back, we will continue, with the conversation. And for now, for those of you that have joined us, we appreciate you and we like you. And this is, Janet that says Ori Lady, or should we just say Yoruba Nation? I think I love that particular track. And as I say to you, tomorrow or your town, I'll be telling you what you need to do and what you don't need to do, because we are not hoodlums and we are not going there to fight each other. We are going there to pass one message, and that message is our right to self-determination. Since we all say we want Yoruba Nation, it is our right and nobody can take that right from us. One Nigeria is not working, and it's not working for any one of us. It's not working for me, it's not working for you, and the time now is best for us to live one Nigeria. We can't continue to be told that we are Nigerians, knowing fully well that nobody is called a Nigerian. As we are preparing for the countdown to Oyo Town rally that is going to be happening from Oja Akeson, I say good evening to all those that are putting this together, and we appreciate each and every one of you. One Nigeria has never worked for anybody, and one Nigeria is not going to work for you and me, and that is the reason why we are saying our right to self-determination must be respected by the federal government of Nigeria. This is Star Radio UK. If you're watching me from Congo, shout out to you. If you're watching from South Africa, shout out to you. If you're watching from any part of the African country, shout out to you. Do you know that Tanzania actually made more money by selling goat to Qatar during the World Cup? Shout out to those of you on Instagram. Shout out to those of you on Twitter. I say welcome to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Thank you so much, those of you that have joined us. My name is Olayomi Koiki. I say good evening and welcome once again. Shout out to all our listeners from around the world. And one thing is, this is Star Radio UK, and it is not too late where all the leaders join that pyramid together. We are not going to allow anybody to continue to put abuse against all those leaders. But one thing is, they have the right to speak, but it's not going to be allowed for you to abuse any such leader. Good evening to you, Muyiwa Senegal. Good evening to you, Api Rashid Olakunle. Good evening to you, and welcome to Star Radio UK. At exactly 7 p.m. to our listeners that are following us in the English, we'll be switching slightly to the Yoruba, because the message tonight is for our Yoruba people around the world. Shout out to you, my brother, all the way in Ifo. Bear with me. I should have get back to you. I'm sure we can still work something out. Good evening to you, Tony Aegis, Kenzie Abiola. Good evening to you. And those of you that are still with me, I say good evening to you and welcome to Star Radio UK. It has been announced and it is going to be continued, and that is the Star Radio UK as we monitor what is going on in Nigeria. In just about a few minutes, I'll be quickly going straight into more conversation, but this time around in the Yoruba language. Good evening to you, Victor Olabanwo. Good evening to you, and welcome, Mrs. Comfort Adeleye. I say welcome to Star Radio UK. And you also say these people are the ones drawing up back the hands of the club. I only pray they do not succeed. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's rightly put. But good evening to you, Grandma, and welcome for staying with us all the time on this platform. As we say to our brother that died, we will continue to remember him. He was still with us up to the 15th of this month, and that is the late Sheikh Abdulrazak Olanikewu, 52 years old. He passed on, and we can only pray for the family that he left behind. What a painful exit. We're not going to be here forever, and that is why we need to do the needful, and we need to do it as quickly as possible. No more one Nigeria, because one Nigeria is not for the Yoruba people, one Nigeria is not for the Biafra people, one Nigeria is not for the Arewa people. One Nigeria is only the British intention, according to the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Good evening to you all the way, Engineer Olayat. Good evening to you in Libya. Good evening to you in Dubai. Good evening to you in almost every part of the globe in Asia. And those of you in Nigeria, I say good evening to you as well. I say welcome. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and like I said, we will now be switching straight into the conversation in our own beautiful local dialect. And as we're going to do that, I will be explaining some bit to those of you that are not also Yoruba speaking. Once again, to my producer, shout out to you, to the sound engineer, shout out to you, to everyone, shout out to you as well. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn ará ilé tó ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò níbi tí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò ti àṣálẹ́ yìí lórí Star Radio UK, níbi tí a ti ń sọ pé àwa ọmọ Yorùbá ìran ọmọ aládé àfi dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. Once again, a very good evening and welcome once again. I say good evening to my producer. Yes. Good night to Nigeria. I say welcome. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ará ilé tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní àṣálẹ́ yìí. A kí ní gbogbo kíbi tí ẹ ti láǹfààní láti máa gbọ́ mi tí ẹ ti ń wò mí. A kí ọmọdé, a kí arúgbó, a kí omidan. A sọ pé ẹ káalẹ́, ẹ káàbọ̀ níbikíbi tí Elédùmarè bá ti ní kẹ́ láǹfààní àti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní orí ètò ti àṣálẹ́ yìí níbi tí àtúnjọ máa fi ọ̀rọ̀ jomi ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀rí pé Yorùbá ti àwa tí à ń gbé nílùú òyìnbó ó máa ń yàtọ̀ sí Yorùbá ti ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà nílé ní fi ṣèbínú ni mú kí àwọn tó jẹ́ production team tiwa ní àṣálẹ́ yìí àwọn ni Frank David àti bàbá wa Archie Hammond àwọn ni wọ́n ń darí ètò ti àṣálẹ́ yìí ní ẹ̀yìn nínú studio àmọ́ èmi ni màá máa gbé ètò yẹn láti ibi báyìí mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin aráalé níbí báyìí ni a ti máa ṣí ojú òpó fún wákàtí kan kí a fi gbọ́n tí olúkálukú yín fẹ́ sọ lórí ìrìn àjò yìí díẹ̀ nítorí pé ìrìn àjò tí a gbé dání yìí bó ti ṣe kàn mí náà ló kàn ìwọ ló kàn gbogbo aráalé àwa gbọ́dọ̀ jókòó tatarata torí pé àwọn ìbéèrè kan wà tó ń kan wá lóminú àmọ́ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá mọ̀ pé ní ọ̀la lágbára ti Ọlọ́run tẹlẹ́dùmarè a máa tún pàdé ní ìlú Ọ̀yọ́ Ọ̀yọ́ state ní ibi tí a ti máa gbé ètò ti rally tí ó ń bọ̀ ní ọ̀la lágbára Ọlọ́run so gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń bọ̀ ibi tí gbogbo wa máa ti pàdé ìyẹn ní Ọ̀yọ́ ní ọ̀la ó bẹ̀ là ń pè ní ọjà Akẹ̀sán ní Ọ̀yọ́ state gbogbo ẹni tó bá ń bọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká tètè gbéra láti ibikíbi tí olúkálukú wa bá ti ń fẹ́ pàdé gbogbo ẹni tó ń bọ̀ láti àwọn ọ̀nà tó jìn ẹ ṣọ́ gbogbo ọ̀nà tí ẹ máa gbà kọjá nítorí pé ewu ń bẹ nítorí pé gbogbo àwọn Fúlàní dáràndáràn tó ń pa wá tó ń jí wa gbé àwọn náà kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ wa àwọn náà ń bẹ níbẹ̀ tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe iṣẹ́ ibi Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè kò ní jẹ́ kí a jẹ́ kòńgẹ́ aburú àwọn Fúlàní tó ń jíyàn gbé mo wá fẹ́ fi àsìkò yìí a máa fi ṣí ojú òpó gbogbo ẹni tí ó bá mọ nọ́mbà kan tí a máa ń lò mo bẹ̀ wá ẹ má pe nọ́mbà míì ju nọ́mbà kan tí a bá fi sílẹ̀ lọ yìí nọ́mbà yẹn ló máa gbé yín wá sínú stúdíò tí a máa gbọ́n tí ó ń dùn yín lọ́kàn àti tí ó bá fẹ́ sọ ó jẹ́ dandan ni pé gbogbo tẹ́ bá sọ náà ni a máa gbà torí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan míì wà tí a gbọ́dọ̀ sọ lórí ètò ti àṣálẹ́ yìí torí pé gbogbo yín ti mọ̀ pé orí ètò tàṣálẹ́ yìí òun là ń pè ní Star Radio UK tó bá mọ̀ pé àwọn nǹkan wà tó ní lè mú dúró a jẹ́ pé wàá ní sùúrù nígbà tí a bá wà ní orí abala míì abala tí a wà lórí ẹ̀ yìí òun ni ti Star Radio UK so mo wá ti ń sọ sílẹ̀ kó má di pé nígbà tẹ́ bá pè ẹ kọ́ rí pé a ti já ojú òpó ẹ̀ ní gbọ́ra yín mọ́ nítorí pé àwọn èdè kan wà àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àṣàfàǹsí àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àlùfàǹṣá kan wà tí a ń gbà lórí ètò ti Star Radio UK ẹ má pe nọ́mbà míì yàtọ̀ sí nọ́mbà tí a ti ní kí ẹ pè wá tó jẹ́ ti studio lẹ́yìn nọ́mbà yẹn nìkan òun la máa gbà tí ẹ bá ti ń pè gbogbo ẹni tó ń gbọ́ wa nílé lóko mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti wọlé lórí MixLR ní gbogbo ibikíbi tí olúkálukú ń pè fáǹfààní àwọn tí kò mọ nọ́mbà náà torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní gbogbo gbàlẹ́ kúkú máa ń sọ pé nọ́mbà mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Cairo kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín mo kí gbogbo àwọn sisters wa mo kí ẹ̀yin màmá wa ní Oman ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Qatar ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí gbogbo wa ń pè pé a fẹ́ gbà lágbára Elédùmarè Ọlọ́run ọba àrígbá àmọ́ ìtàn sọ ni pé gbogbo rùdùrìdì tó ń lọ lọ́tún lọ́sì tó ń dàbí ìgbà tí kò fẹ́ yí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ mọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń béèrè àwọn ìbéèrè kan tí a lè dáhùn àti ìmíì tá a lè dáhùn àmọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ náà a máa sọ pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá akúkú ti fi gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ Ọlọ́run lọ́rùn Ọlọ́run gan kú sùúrù ètò tí à ń wò lálẹ́ yìí fún wákàtí kan nínú ẹ̀ òun la máa fi sọ̀rọ̀ ti Yorùbá Nation tó bá ti ń di aago mẹ́jọ àwa tún padà sínú èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì láti máa tẹ́ bá pè ẹ má sọ pé tí bá kúkú ti pè nísìn èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì náà ni èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì náà ni a máa sọ nílé sọ̀rọ̀ ti èdè tiwa gangan tó máa tẹ́ mi lọ́rùn ìyẹn la ṣe ń sọ pé kò ń ṣe dandan ní kẹ́ pè sí ibi ìbàkẹ́ wa máa sọ èdè òyìnbó ẹ ní right láti sọ èdè àbínibí wa torí pé ìyẹn gangan ó máa ń fi ọkàn lọ́kàn balẹ̀ ẹ lè express ọkàn yín dáadáa ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa ibi báyìí àgbáláyè bẹ́ẹ̀ so gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá àsìkò tó tí ẹ̀yin náà lè pè wọlé báyìí tẹ́ bá ti wá ń pè wọlé ibi báyìí ò kì í ṣe ibi tí àwa máa bú gbogbo àwọn olórí wa àní fún yín láyè yẹn àmọ́ pípè tẹ́ bá pè wọlé ẹ béèrè tí ó bá ń rú yín lójú èyí tí a bá lè sọ à sọ fún yín. Nọ́mbà kan tí a máa gbà lálẹ́ yìí òun náà ni nọ́mbà tí a mọ̀ sí +44 74 0440 5917. Nọ́mbà tó ń kọ́kọ́ pè wọlé láti ìlú Jámánì, èdè German ló ń sọ níbẹ̀, àmọ́ bí èdè German ló máa fi bá wa sọ̀rọ̀, àmọ́ ẹja agbọ́n tó fi bá wa sọ. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò náà, ẹ bá wa ṣe ní kíákíá nítorí pé ààrẹ ọjọ́ mu ló kùn, àbí báwo la ṣe ń sọ, ẹgbọ́n sókè. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò bàbá wa. Iṣẹ́ tó máa ń pọ̀ la máa ń gbà lójoojúmọ́ látàárọ̀ ṣúlẹ̀ náà ni iṣẹ́ kan làwọn èèyàn máa ń bẹ̀ wá. Tí a bá wá wo gbogbo iṣẹ́ táwọn èèyàn máa ń bẹ̀ wá lójoojúmọ́, ẹ mọ̀ pé kò ní jẹ́ iṣẹ́ kan mọ́, àmọ́ èyí tẹ́yìn náà fẹ́ ní ẹ fẹ́ bẹ̀ wá yìí ó ti di dandan nítorí pé ara iṣẹ́ tí a gbà náà nìyẹn. Ó dà ẹja gbọ́n tí iṣẹ́ tẹ fẹ́ bẹ̀ wá yẹn tó bá jẹ́ pé tí mo lè jẹ́ ni o ẹja gbọ́.
Ọlọ́run á fún yín ṣe lágbàá.
Láṣà wí.
Iṣẹ́ tí mo fẹ́ bẹ̀ yìí mo fẹ́ rán yín sí àwọn bàbá wa kọ́nà ìpè gbogbo ẹ̀kú wa. Bàbá wa dúdú yìí àti bàbá wa Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho àti màmá wa Mrs. Modupe Obitimi. Ṣé ẹ gẹ́tì ní sí?
À ń gbọ́ yín bàbá.
Iṣẹ́ ti lè fẹ́ràn yín ní pé kò ṣe nǹkan tó pọ̀ pẹ̀lú níwájú èmi. Mo lè bí wípé orí sí lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀yìn. Nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ tọ́jú fún wa ni wípé mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn sọ̀rọ̀ lórí Yorùbá nation. Mo ti máa ń gbọ́ ti pẹ́ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ní group. Kọ́jọ́ kọ́ bá wa sọ fún wọn, gbogbo àwọn ọmọ group wọn, kọ́ kún àwọn ọmọ wa lọ́wọ́ dé. Gbogbo àwọn máa jẹ́ pé akọ̀wé tó pé ẹ lágbájá nílẹ̀ kíkà ó láwọn group tiẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe tó wà. Tẹ bá sọ pé gúrùpù ṣé ẹ bá wa ṣàlàyé ẹ̀kẹ́ náà ní kó lè yé wa dáadáa torí pé gúrùpù tí ẹ ń sọ yẹn ṣé irú gúrùpù pé ṣé ti ìtọ́kọ̀ àkọ́ àwọn èèyàn jọ àbí gúrùpù mídíà àwọn tó fi ń ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn. Ok, gúrùpù mídíà àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn kọ́ tí ó kó àwọn agbára Yorùbá tó jẹ́ mídíà tèmi máa ń wò lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ṣóyè sí ẹ máa gbọ́ ìfẹ́ dárúkọ mídíà kọ̀ọ̀kan. Àní láti dárúkọ. Ẹ máa gbọ́ kíní kan mẹ́díà wọ́n ní gúrùpù wọn tí wọ́n tún jọ ń kóra wọn jọ lórí ìrìn àjò yìí náà. Ṣé n gẹ́tì mi? Àgbọ̀yé bàbá wa. Irú ànọ́sì àbíkẹta mò ń wo rálì Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ yẹn láì. Mo rí àwọn gúrùpù kan tó jẹ́ láti Amẹ́ríkà ni bàbá yẹn wà mí ìrántí fún bàbá yẹn. Àwọn ọmọ bá rálì yẹn wọ́n lè gbé bánà wa. Wọ́n jẹ́ ká mọ̀ yìí pé nínú kíní ta wò láti ta wò lórí Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ adìẹ wọ́n jẹ́ ká mọ̀ yìí pé àwọn tí mo gbà pọ̀ bàbá yẹn ṣé ń gẹ́tì ní sísà. Àgbọ́yé. tó gbogbo àwọn mẹ́díà wa tó wà káàkiri lórí Yorùbá nation yìí náà ta máa ń gbọ́ pé àwọn náà máa ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ before kíláàdì tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ rí pé àwọn ní kíní kan group ọmọ kíní kan group bàbá kíní kan group tí wọ́n ń fọ́ tó ń tẹ̀lé àwọn tí àwọn náà bá lè kó àwọn wa lọ́wọ́ lé. Wọ́n máa ẹ̀ pa. Ní mo fẹ́ kẹ́ bá mi sọ fún bàbá àti bàbá. Àṣàlàyé ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa láti. Wọ́n ní gúrùpù lábẹ́ wọn. Tọ́jọ́ gbọ́ra wọlé. Wọ́n jẹ́ kí gúrùpù wọn ẹ̀kọ́ sọ̀pọ̀tì àwọn ọmọ wa. A ti kọ sílẹ̀ àmì. Bàbá wa ní gbogbo àwọn mídíà tó ń jẹ́ mídíà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ fún self-determination pé kó fi ọwọ́ kún àwọn tí wọ́n wà nílé nítorí pé kí iṣẹ́ yẹn lè dán mọ́rán. Ojú òpó tí ẹ máa láǹfààní àti pè nítorí pé ní ọ̀la yìí ní agbára Elédùmarè àwọn ọmọ wa ń lọ sí Ọ̀yọ́. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà lọ́yọ̀ọ́ ẹ̀yin gan tó láti jẹ́ kí ẹ jẹ́ numbers. Ìyẹn la ṣe sọ pé tí nọ́mbà yẹn ò bá pọ̀ débi tí ẹ kó pọ̀ dé á jẹ́ pé ìrìn àjò yìí ó sì ń tẹ̀síwájú náà ni. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní ǹjẹ́ ìrìn àjò yóò ti mẹ́hẹ, èmi á sọ pé ìrìn àjò tí mẹ́hẹ àwa ni kí a jáde nísìnyí èyí tí a gbọ́ lórí social media láti bí ọdún mẹ́ta tí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìrìn àjò yìí ẹ wá jẹ́ kí gbogbo wa jáde. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní a fẹ́ jáde àpò ni kò jẹ́ ká lè jáde. A mọ̀ pé ìyẹn á tún máa jẹ́ nǹkan tí a máa di ìfàsí ọwọ́ àbí fàsẹ́yìn ànírí fàsẹ́yìn bọ̀. Ní tí mo mọ̀ ni pé láìpẹ́ láì jìnà bí wọ́n ti ṣe ń sọ fún wa pé super rally tá ti wà nínú ẹ̀ yìí ó ní àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tó máa jáde nínú ẹ̀ but a máa ní sùúrù káwọn ìgbésẹ̀ yẹn kan fi sọ fún wa. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀
ọjọ́ mẹ́wàá ló kù tí oṣù yìí máa fi parẹ́. Kódà àwọn tán ní kò ní wáyé tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n rí yẹn sọ mọ́ nísìnyí pé Super Rally ò wáyé mọ́. Nǹkan sọ nísìnyí pé ṣé a máa rí declaration bàbá Akíntóyè àbí ìyí tí wọ́n ti ṣe tí ìyàwó Onítìrí ti ṣe, ìyẹn náà la máa pòǹtẹ̀ sí. Ìyẹn ń fa wúyéwúyé láàárín gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nítorí pé àwọn kan fọwọ́ sí àwọn kan fọwọ́ sí. Ìyẹn ń fa gbọ́n mi ò tó. Ṣé Yorùbá mi ṣó ń dán mọ́rán báyìí, ṣó ń lọ bó ṣe jẹ́ kó lọ? Ìdí ta ṣe ń sọ pé tí a bá gbalẹ̀ yìí wá àwọn èdè tá a máa sọ leléyìí, ẹni bá fẹ́ sọ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì á jẹ́ pé option ló wà ń bẹ̀ +44 74 044 059 17. Mo kí ìyàwó Ọlájùmọ̀kẹ́ Àjọkẹ́ bí ẹ ti ṣe ń wọlé. Mo rí ẹ ń bẹ̀ Àjọkẹ́ proper. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin sisters wa, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa lórí Star Radio UK. Bàbá wa Rótìmí ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ti fọ̀. Mo wá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí yín láti ìlú Èkó. Wọ́n ní wọ́n ti ṣe train lọ ṣe, inú gbogbo èèyàn wá ń dùn lẹ́yìn 62 years. Wọ́n ṣe train sáàrin Èkó. Ẹ̀rí pé ó dà bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ fìyẹn tún fi kó wa lómi ọbẹ̀ jẹ. Àwọ̀ ṣe mọ́ èyí tá a ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà ó tó gẹ. Orúkọ tèmi ni Olayomi Koiki tí kò bẹ̀rù ẹnì kankan àfẹlẹ́dùmarè tó dá mi, kò dẹ̀ sí tí a lè sọ. Tabatẹ̀ ń ṣẹ́nu kò lórí afọ́nrán tá a wà yìí nítorí pé ó ní àwọn ìdí ni. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní tí kò bá nídìí obìnrin ò kì í jẹ́ kí ni o kò mọ̀ ló mọ́ kí bàbá wa Ọlámi Alex. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ àsìkò tó tó tí a gbọ́dọ̀ jáde. À ń dúró de bàbá lóyè bàbá wa Dr. CSI pé kó tó wá kó wa lọ́wọ́ pé a fẹ́ ṣe Super Rally. Bàbá ti ní ẹ jáde síta. Àwa la níta ìta yẹn kẹrẹ òun la fẹ́ fi gbá mẹ́sẹ̀gì jáde. Mo kí ẹ̀mbẹ̀ Sodiq, mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nílùú Ọ̀yọ́ lé ibẹ̀ láti máa pàdé lọ́la. Gbogbo ẹni tí ó bá fẹ́ mọ àsìkò tí a máa pàdé ẹ tètè débẹ̀ là ń sọ. Mo kí àwa dáadáa Sekinat Ọmọwùnmí, wọ́n ní ẹ kúrọ̀ lẹ́ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Èmi náà máa sọ pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Brother, are we going to Ọ̀yọ́ town? Ibo lè bàbá yìí wà kẹ̀? Arákùnrin tún béèrè pé ṣáà ń lọ sí Ọ̀yọ́ town lọ́la. Ó dà ń pé ẹ̀ sí nílé. Orí flight lẹ wà látàárọ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ láǹdì ní sí Nàìjíríà. Mo rí ẹ̀bẹ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa Káyọ̀dé Ayọ̀dèjì, bàbá mi dáadáa Suleiman Yusuf, mo kí yín. Èmi náà ni àbúrò yín ọmọ yín. Mo níṣẹ́ àbẹ̀rù ẹnì kankan, kò sí ní tá a lè sọ àfi Ọlọ́run ọba tó bí wa. Ìbéèrè táwọn èèyàn ń béèrè òun náà làwa náà ń sọ síta. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí ẹ̀kan yín máa mì kìkìkì. Àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní ǹjẹ́ ìrìn àjò yìí ti dàrú mọ́ ní kápápá ó dàrú tì. Mo sì láǹfààní torí pé àǹfààní ni mò ń jẹ tí bá ti ń bá bàbá wa Olóyè Sunday. Oríṣiríṣi ìran náà ló ń jáde tán rí. Gbogbo ìran ta bá ń rí Elédùmarè á bá wa ṣe dáadáa. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ jẹ́ ìyàwó alálùbáríkà ojoojúmọ́ tẹ̀ ń fi àdúrà ran ọmọ yín lọ́wọ́. Mo kí ìyàwó Grace Senior káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Bàbá wa Túndé Ezekiel, mo kí yín. Bàbá wa Lí Àjàyí, ẹni tí ọ̀rọ̀ ta bá ń sọ tó bá jẹ́ pé kò tẹ́yìn lọ́rùn tó á jẹ́ pé ẹ fẹ́ ní open mind nìyẹn. Èmi ò dẹ̀ sí níbi tí a máa sọ pé bọ́lẹ̀ kájà media. Ọdún 5 tí mo ti ń ṣe ètò tí mo ń ṣe yìí ní kò ń ṣe Yorùbá Nation ló gbé mi wọ Star Radio UK. So tá a bá ń ṣe léyìí a fi ń kún ìjọ Yorùbá Nation ni. So kò ń ṣe pé a ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ léyìí a ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ tó jọ́ mẹ́ta. A kì í ṣe bọ́lẹ̀ kájà media. A máa ní àwọn ìbéèrè tá a máa béèrè. A dẹ̀ fẹ́ káwọn ìyá wa àwọn bàbá wa kọ́ fún wa lésì. Bọ̀ kò ń ṣe pé èsì tá a máa gbọ́ tí kò ní tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn. CSR ní láti support rally ọ̀dà pé ẹ̀yin ò sí níta nìyẹn bí ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé sí Nàìjíríà ni nítorí pé CSR fúnra rẹ̀ ó láǹfààní ó bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí fọ́nrán yìí gangan. Ẹ tún ní kí CSR tún sọ̀rọ̀ á jẹ́ pé bàbá yẹn á jẹ́ pé ìlú mi lẹ ti ń gbé. Ṣé Ghana lẹ wà ní àbí Togo àbí báwo? Nígbà tẹ́ tún sọ pé kí CSR wá sọ̀rọ̀, CSR ti sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Ó ti ní kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ó ní ká ṣe kí ni, ó ní ká jáde ní kíákíá lọ́gbọ̀nlọ́gbọ̀n ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ Super Rally ní kíákíá. In tó kàn ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ wa nísìnyí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ò ní owó lọ́wọ́. So pé ká tún máa lọ wá voice CSI kó wá máa sọ fún wa pé ká jáde ní Ọ̀yọ́ state. No. Ohun kan tí CSI ti sọ jáde ní last week tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ti rí ẹ lọ sórí platform wa kẹ́ lọ mú jáde níbẹ̀. A jẹ́ pé ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé sí Nàìjíríà nìyẹn. Mo kí gbogbo èèyàn olólùfẹ́ wa African Confidential Adéọlá mórí ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ ju tó sìn mórí ẹ̀. Mo kí ta ló tún wà níbẹ̀. Mo kí yín Land of Heritage Property, mo kí gbogbo yín pátápátá. Akíbàbá wa Ìbà Gani Adams lóògùn ọ̀fẹ́ o. Wọ́n ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin all keyboard warrior abusing people online, come down to Ọ̀yọ́ tomorrow. ọmọ àkẹ́ ó ní kẹ́ wá lọ́la àfẹ́jẹ́ kẹ́ jókòó sórí mídíà àní kẹ́ bọ́ta gangan mo kí bàbá wa dáadáa treasury road kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín ẹ̀fẹ̀ là ń bá yín ṣe ní bíbáyìí mo wá kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ìyá wa bẹ́ẹ̀ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ìyá wa Rukayat mo kí yín gbogbo àgbáyé ló ń retí wa àmọ́ àwa la máa jáde tá a bá jáde bàbá ń gbàdúrà lótìtọ́ àdúrà dá èmi ò jókòó síbí ká máa fẹnu ẹ̀tẹ́ bu àdúrà àmọ́ àdúrà tá a jáde síta kí ló bá ṣe a máa wá jókòó sínú ilé a máa pariwo Yorùbá nation àwọn kan tún sọ wọ́n ní kìtẹ̀ má máa sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn mọ́ kí n fìyẹn sílẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa tí ẹ gbọ́ èdè tá à ń sọ láti bí almost 14 minutes. I hope you are enjoying this beautiful language called the Yoruba language. We are still greeting our people. Ọlátúnjí Julius mo kí yín níbẹ̀ Ọláìyádéyẹmọ mo kí yín ẹ ti wà lórí ètò dancing and merry to chase evil out bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Prayer without work is dead bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a gbọ́dọ̀ jáde tá a bá ti jáde àlọ́bì kankan ìbùkún ńlá fún orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá nation kò ń ṣe pé kákọ̀ máa sọ nìkan mo kí ìyàwó dáadáa Ọmọ́wùnmí convenant mo wá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo èyí tí à ń pè ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní owó nìkan lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ń gbà mo ní tí a bá gbowó ní mọṣẹ́ tí owó ń ṣe èèyàn máa ń rọ wọ́n ṣẹ́ ni tẹ́ bá wá rọ wọ́n ṣẹ́ tán àwọn èèyàn wá jẹ́ kí owó yẹn kí ó jẹ́ kó ní ìbùkún torí gbà mí èèyàn lè rọ owó ṣẹ́ kó ní àbùkún nínú Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ káwa rán owó ṣẹ́ lórí platform tiwa tó máa ní àbùkún nínú bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ lọ́la a máa tanná yoyoyo inú mi ń dùn ṣẹ́ríbẹ́ ṣe ń rí iná nínú bíbà iná náà máa tàn níbẹ̀ lọ́la lágbára Elédùmarè àwọn ò ní sọ̀rọ̀ ká máa mú ṣẹ gbogbo nǹkan tó máa jẹ́ kí iná tàn lọ́la àwa ti gbé jáde lórí Koiki platform àti Star Radio pàdé wa lọ́la ẹ má bẹ̀rù níwọ̀nba tí àwa lè ṣe àwa ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Yorùbá language is a beautiful language mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń pè wá àti ẹni tó ń kọ comment gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ a sì ń fún yín láyè o ẹ̀já gbọ́ láti ẹnu tẹ̀yìn náà abẹ́ǹbẹ́ akúkú ti ní Yorùbá ní kẹ́ sọ ní láti sọ English ẹlòmíràn ti bá pé Koiki nísìn lórí Star Radio ìgbà ló máa sọ òyìnbó kẹ̀bẹ̀kẹ̀bẹ̀ ẹ máa sọ òyìnbó bíi ti Queen a máa sọ òyìnbó ti King Charles ìrọ̀ kò ṣe bíi ti bíbà tẹ bá ti pè lálẹ́ yìí ní wákàtí àfún yín láyè ẹ sọ èdè abínibí yín nítorí pé bíbá gangan òun náà ni à ń pè ní Naija Voices every Wednesday ọdún 5 tí mo ti ń ṣe léyìí ní kíyàn kan ṣe máa sọ fún mi pé àwọn tá à ń ṣe níbi tí a ti ṣe léyìí tá a ti sọ̀rọ̀ tí gbogbo àgbáyé tá à ń sọ pé Nàìjíríà ò gbádùn nínú ọdún 5 yẹn agbésòwò rẹ wá sínú Star Radio talatúgbé wá agbẹ́fẹ́lá dúró tó yẹ wá mo pe àwọn APC níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn wọ́n dá mi lóhùn mo pe PDP wọ́n dá mi lóhùn nítorí pé oníjẹkújẹ ni wọ́n ní dá wa lóhùn wọ́n ní wá so àmọ́ àwọn tí wọ́n wá náà wọ́n bá wa dáadáa mo dẹ̀ ti gbé oríṣiríṣi ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn wá tó ti wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nínú Star Radio so tíyàn kan bá fẹ́ máa bu àbùkù ẹnu sírò àwa báyìí ẹ gbé yẹ̀wò dáadáa àjáde nítorí Yorùbá nation ìta ti ń ṣe ni láti 20 ọdún sí 20 ọdún àádẹ́ máa ṣe ẹni tó bá wá tẹ́ lọ́rùn á jẹ́ pé ìta ń ṣe yẹn fẹ́ òmìnira nìyẹn mo mọ̀ ọdún tí bàbá wa ti ń pè +33 bí a tẹ́ bá sọ̀ lùtẹ́ ti ń pè á lè jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn mọ̀ pé Star Radio ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa níbẹ̀ náà ní kétékété ẹ̀ gbóhùn sókè àsìkò tó ka gbọ́rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a kì í ṣe bọ́lẹ̀ kájà media ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò bàbá wa ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ pé France gba World Cup ẹ má bínú bàbá wa another 4 years lágbára Ọlọ́run àwa àti Yorùbá àti France á play
ẹnìkan kí ń jẹ́ kí ló fẹ́.
ká pèsè Elédùmarè ó yẹ gbóhùn sókè bàbá wa ẹ ti wọlé sórí ètò.
tó gbogbo nǹkan tó ń lọ sí ni pé àwọn tẹ ló ń bọ̀ lákàkiri yẹn owó mọ́tò logistic yẹn máa fún wọn problem.
ó pọ̀ a lè parọ́ ó ń fún ọ ní concern gan a lè parọ́ àfi tá a bá fẹ́ jókòó síbi tá a máa parọ́.
àwọn ìjẹ̀bú kájáde ń jẹ̀bú ni kájábọ̀ ní bí kágbé gbogbo ìlú ṣe wùtìwùtì ló máa dùn ẹ̀yẹ wò sí àwọn míì wà logistic kò sówó.
àṣírí Àjọkẹ́ pọpà Buhari ti lu Nàìjíríà lulẹ̀.
ìtẹ̀lébẹ̀tẹ̀ pé Yorùbá ó sọ wọ́n di tálíkà.
kábíyèsí ẹ.
so àwọn bàbá àgbàlagbà Yorùbá ti dà yín náà àwọn náà gan ìjẹkújẹ ti jẹ́ kán tọ̀tẹ̀ fún Fúlàní wọ́n ṣe gọ́gọ́gọ́gọ́gọ́ wọ́n pariwo ìṣọ́jọ́rin láti 70 years
àwọn Afẹ́nifẹ́re àwọn bàbá wa Afẹ́nifẹ́re náà wọ́n gbìyànjú wọ́n náà sọ fún àwọn politician kan fún wọn ní restructure wọn ní ọ̀dà wọn lóhùn ni.
ẹ má dá wọn bàbá ẹ lóhùn ẹ má dá wọn lóhùn tó bá
Ìbàdàn sí Ọ̀yọ́ is just 40 minutes. Ṣèyí Abíọ́dún ẹ pàdé wa lọ́yọ̀ọ́ ẹ fi Ìbàdàn sílẹ̀.
Wọ́n fún ọ ní slot, wọ́n panimọ́. Gbogbo Yorùbá dẹ̀ ń jẹyà. Ẹ wo gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́nọ́mì Yorùbá ti bàjẹ́. Deliberate ni, it's deliberate.
Gbogbo èèyàn tó wà lábúròdù ò lè wá sílé. Ẹni tó ní ká wá sílé, gbogbo akọ́lá máa wá sílé. Ẹyẹ sọ pé kí gbogbo wa wá sílé, gbogbo wa ò lè wá sílé. Òmùgọ̀ la máa sọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé kí gbogbo èèyàn wá sílé. Ìjẹ́ ẹmọye tí diaspora ń sẹ́ndì wá sí Nàìjíríà. Tá a bá sẹ́ndì owó wá sínú Nàìjíríà ti lulẹ̀ tipẹ́. Deliberate act. Ìwọ́n tó ń sọ yẹn ọmọ tó ń sọ pé kó bá ti bàtí lọ.
Ẹ̀tún kìíní yẹn bóyá ká tún change strategy kọ́ńtẹ́ńtà jáde ládùúgbò ẹ̀.
Ok bí alágbára Ọlọ́run bí káwọn bàbá wa kọ́ tètè bá wa activate yẹn kí gbogbo kílù yẹn lè jáde kíákíá bí.
Because ẹ̀yẹ wo mo ti ń pariwo logistic.
Ó dà
àti pé ọ̀nà yẹn ọ̀dẹ̀ tó ga ọ̀nà ọ̀gá àwọn Fúlàní wá tó lọ́ máa jẹ́ ọmọ ọlọ́mọ pé
ó dà
ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká kó jáde ládùúgbò mi kò sí ọ̀dọ́ lè gbé mi ládùúgbò mi.
mo jẹ́rìí bàbá yìí àdúgbò yín nílẹ̀ Yorùbá kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ sọ fún wa. Bàbá yìí ti bínú tán ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹja tó fẹ́ lómi láyè ẹ ṣé gan ni.
ó kú fẹ̀rẹ̀ àtàwọn ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀.
ṣé lè sọ Jẹ̀bú bá àbẹ́ ti gbàgbé sí France. kí dẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n ní Ìjẹ̀bú kì í ṣojú ẹ ṣé bàbá wa máa jẹ́ kẹ́ máa lọ wọ́n ní Ìjẹ̀bú kì í sórí ìwọ tó ń sọ pé ká máa bọ̀ ńlé á jẹ́ pé làákàyè yẹn ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ni torí pé ibi táwa jókòó sí yìí ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń sọ yìí ó ń bàjọba lójoojúmọ́ wọ́n dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé in tó bá jẹ́ kí Star Radio máa sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí wọ́n ní jẹ́ kí àwọn bọ́lẹ̀ kájà mídíà yín kọ́ sọ ẹni tó bá fẹ́ pè àyè sì kù fún yín mọ́ kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà ní ìmẹ̀kọ akí gbogbo ọba aládé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mọ́ kí ní Saudi Arabia gbogbo àwọn tó ń complain lótìtọ́ lódodo àwa náà ti ń rí i pé complain logistics yẹn ó dà kó fẹ́ máa pọ̀ jù gbogbo ẹ̀ náà mo ní àwọn tó wà nílùú Benin ni wọ́n ń gbọ́ lélẹ́dùmarè a mọ̀ pé láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà èyí tó ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe wá ṣe fún wa àmọ́ ìtàn béèrè ni pé ìjà kan lè gba ìlú kan lórí social media kí a má rí pẹ́ òun làwọn èèyàn ń béèrè ẹgbọ́n sókè bàbá wa David ní UK níbí ṣó tuntun ọ̀pọ̀ jù lọ́dọ̀ yín àbó dọ́dọ̀ yín torí kò dọ́dọ̀ tèmi o. ẹ káàbọ̀ sà.
Olúwa máa ṣàpò lórí yín o.
Àmín.
Ẹjẹ nígbà tí ẹ nídìí prayer gidi káàbọ̀ náà kó dájú lórí yín.
Àmín.
Jáde yín kó ṣàpò lórí yín.
Àmín.
Bàbá yín mọ́.
Àmín.
Káàbọ̀ náà bá ti dájú lórí yín ó lè tó kù fẹ́rẹ̀.
Káàbọ̀ Ọlọ́run bá ti dáàbò léèyàn kékeré ní tó kù àbí. Àdúpẹ́ fọlọ́run ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa. Kí lẹ fẹ́ bá a sọ lálẹ́ yìí ẹ jẹ́ agbọ́tọ̀dọ̀ ti yín náà.
Tí mo fẹ́ bá yín sọ ni tí mo fẹ́ sọ nínú àlè sí àwọn ènìyàn wa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nílẹ̀. We should know what we are doing. A gbọ́dọ̀ mọ nǹkan tá à ń ṣe.
A gbọ́dọ̀ mọ nǹkan tá à ń ṣe.
Ìjẹta àbádọ fún àwọn army bí fake soldier ni wọ́n bí rí dàbí ni wọ́n tó ṣàlódù wọn tó kó wọn lẹ́yìn.
Wọ́n ṣàwọṣọ army bọ́bá dáhùn dúró náà wá jiyàn gbé wá gbé ìwọ̀n nú gbó.
Ìjọba fake ni wọ́n bóyá rí dàbí ni wọ́n ṣàkó wọn wọlé. So na lie no be na lie again o na truth now o.
So a gbọ́dọ̀ mọ tá à ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá.
Na lie ní tẹ́lẹ̀ o ó ti di na true báyìí o. And ẹ̀yin tó gbogbo àwọn tó dẹ̀ ń gbóhùn sábẹ́bẹ́ tó ń sọ fún wa pé nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ pé tí ìwà kó là ojú wa ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe. Ká má fi iná sí orí òrùlé sùn wọ́n lórí ọ̀run sí ọmọ àbí wò ó. Wọ́n ní kí gẹ́gẹ́ má gùn mí lójú òkè láti máa wò ó. Àti gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀.
Òwe yìí oríṣiríṣi òwe yìí máa ń dẹ́rù bà mí tẹ́ bá ti ń pa àwọn òwe báyìí wọ́n ní igi kí lẹ pé yìí.
Igi gbogbo má gùn mí lójú àtòkè láti wò ó.
Ok Yorùbá pẹ̀lú òwe ṣá à ń gbọ́ yín bàbá so ní ẹ̀ sọ nísìnyí ni pé ká má sùn àsùnpara.
Ká má sùn wọ́n ní òkè fi náà sí orí òrùlé sùn. Iná wà lórí òrùlé ẹ̀ sùn.
Aládé o.
Ọmọ ìfilẹ̀ lórí òrùlé sùn.
Ó dà.
Wọ́n ti rán àwọn pípọ̀ ìtàn àdí wa. Everybody mọ̀. This time bí ṣe kọ́tà máa fi ṣeré.
Ò bá dé àsọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Ó ní reality torí ní ìbáfù mi pé táìmù tẹ́lẹ̀ kí gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá káwá unite níbẹ̀.
Ó ní gbogbo yánpọnyán ní ṣẹlẹ̀.
Àpapọ̀ alọ́kàá adẹ̀mójú wa rí wọn. Táìmù tẹ́lẹ̀ kí unity wà láàrin wa lélẹ̀ this is not the right time to fight.
Ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ o.
Iná ti fi àwọn pípọ̀ ti wà láàrin wa wọ́n ti wọ̀ wà láàrin wa tá a lọ́dẹ̀ ní wọn.
Ó dà.
Tí àwọn yẹn bá wá sọ pé na lie wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ìwà tó fi náà tí wọ́n rí lóṣù ní wọn.
Ó dà.
Ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní tí ẹ̀yìn
Kódà.
Iwájú lomi máa ń gbà wọ̀ omi ò gbọ́dọ̀ ti ẹ̀yìn wọ ìgbín lẹ́nu.
Kódà ẹ ṣé gan bàbá wa. Àmín.
Báwo èèyàn wa lọ́mọ kan tó ṣe.
Ok. Kódà.
Honestly, gbogbo tó máa ń sọ báyìí tó lè for our own good. Wọ́n gbà pàjẹ́ for our own benefit. It's for our own good. Gbogbo àtàwà ní ìlú òyìnbó yìí gbogbo we wish to go home.
Okay.
If there is security and everything tí iná wà tó dọ̀nà dáa, what are we waiting for here?
Kí là ń ṣe níta? Kódà ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Ẹ jẹ́ àtúgbọ́ pẹ̀lú mi náà torí àsìkò ni àlọ́jọ́ mu ló kùn bí oṣù. Yorùbá mi gbogbo ẹ̀ ti di ó ti wọnú ara wọn báyìí. Mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ mo ti rí lógo wọn. Ẹ̀yin náà pè ẹ jẹ́ àgbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ ti yín bí gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń lọ yìí. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ ń sọ pé bàbá Koiki owó àwọn náà ká lọ àpò kò sí nǹkan kan lápò ìgbà tẹ́ẹ̀rẹ̀ gbé bọ́ọ̀sì sílẹ̀ ká máa fi lóòdà ara wa wọ́n ti pè mí lálẹ́mọ̀ṣọ́ wọ́n ti pè mí lájà wọ́n ti pè mí ní Badagry ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ni ṣé ká activate gbogbo ẹ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ni kó máa rọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bí wọ́n ti sọ fún wa kó máa wáyé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò wá nílẹ̀ Haúsá ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò wá nílẹ̀ Ìgbò ní àdúgbò wọn ní Enugu wọ́n pa wọ́n lọ bíi nǹkan ń bẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nǹkan ń bẹ nílẹ̀ Ìgbò ìkan ń bẹ nílẹ̀ Haúsá ìkan ń bẹ ní Middle Belt ṣé bá ṣe máa bá lọ náà nìyí àbí a máa sọ pé ó ti tó a gbọ́dọ̀ gbára wa kúrò nínú oko ẹrú ẹ jẹ́ lọ sókè lọ́hùn-ún bí bàbá wa bá mi wo ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí self determination ṣé gbogbo ẹ̀sọ́ ń lọ bó ṣe jẹ́ kó lọ àbí ó kàn ń kó bp mórí àwa kan tó ṣe ọ́díò kan wọ́n sunkún nínú ẹ̀ mọ́ ní wàhálà ti dé báyìí o ẹgbọ́n sókè.
Hello bros Koiki.
ẹ ti wọlé bàbá wa.
Nǹkan méjì ni mo fẹ́ point out.
Àsìkò ń bẹ à ń gbọ́ yín.
Sẹ́rí àwọn dìdìrín tán máa ń gbọ́ pé ẹ tó wà lábúrọ̀d kò wálé orí wọn ti burú.
Bí ti báwo ẹ bá ṣíwò káwò.
Orí wọn ló burú ẹ tó bá ní pé kán wálé orí wọn ó burú dànù. Sẹ́rí gbogbo àwọn tó bá ti ń ṣe ìjọba delete the comment wọn ẹ máa block wọn dànù. A ti wà at the point of war.
Àti wà at the point of war.
Point of war. Don't let us deceive ourselves. And secondly, ẹ máa ń sọ pé bóyá àwọn kan wọ aṣọ àmì ẹ mọ̀ pé there was a time tí wọ́n integrate àwọn repentant Boko Haram tí wọ́n integrate wọn sínú Nàìjíríà.
wọ́n tẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀ tó kó wá ọ̀pọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ.
Ẹ mọ̀ pé wọ́n integrate wọn sínú Nàìjíríà Army.
Ẹni.
So kí Yorùbá má so can't disregard any army uniform. Disregard it.
Àwọn army ẹ rántí pé bàbá wa kan tó pa láìpẹ́ náà ẹni tó wá army uniform ni àtẹ ẹ̀dá wọn mọ̀ mọ́.
Ẹni sójà kan fi bọ̀ fọ́ orí sójà yẹn dànù.
Ẹ máa ká máa sọ yẹn lórí bíbẹ̀ bàbá à ń gbọ́ yín.
Ok ẹni pé kí wọ́n ti káwọn yẹn máa disregard uniform yẹn o.
Ok ṣé pé ká má believe uniform yẹn mọ́.
Ẹ má believe uniform yẹn o. They are using the uniform. Anybody can put on army uniform now. Because ṣé àmọ̀ pé tó bá rí army uniform mentality àwọn èèyàn ní pé they have been subjected to authority.
Okay.
Oyè yín.
Okay.
Kọ́ bá regard any army uniform o. Wọ́n fi yẹn wọlé o, wọ́n lè ti pa àwọn èèyàn tó tó àwọn èèyàn tó là. Pé so àwọn pípọ̀ yóò kì í ṣe Nàìjíríà sójà. Oyè yín tí mo ń sọ ń sìn.
Ó ti yé oyè.
Kọ́ máa jẹ́ táwọn èèyàn bá rí uniform army kọ́ máa tí fi gbogbo ara kọ́ máa dára lẹ̀ o. Kọ́ jẹ́ kójú wọn là kétékété káwọn kí imú wọn kójú wọn kó máa rí kí imú báyìí o. Sójà tó bá rí pé o is too desperate. Káwọn gbogbo reaction everything.
Okay.
Tó bá fọ́ọ̀mù àkókò kò pàdánù.
Okay.
Ó dàbọ̀.
Bàbá yìí bí ògùn bí nǹkan kan ni bàbá yìí mú wá lálẹ́ yìí ẹ ṣé gan ni alàgbà. Wọ́n ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa sọ pé ká máa bọ̀ ńlé àwọn kan ní awátàwà níta tábá wálé àwọn òòlù tá à ń rí lò tá à ń fi ṣiṣẹ́ báwo la ṣe máa fi ṣe àwọn tá à ń ṣe yìí àbí àwọn kan míì tá à ń ṣe lọ lọ́tún lọ́sì. Mo máa kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti wà láàrin wa lálẹ́ yìí Ọ̀yọ́ is a pace setter àwọn kan tó ní Ìbàdàn mo ní Ọ̀yọ́ lọ́níkà ti pàdé ní ọjà Akẹ̀sán mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ mo kí àwọn ìyàwó mi mo kí àwọn ọmọ mo kí gbogbo ọmọlẹ̀ Yorùbá pátápátá gbogbo ẹni tó bá fẹ́ pè náà a sì ní bíi wákàtí kan nínú ètò yìí àmọ́ nínú wákàtí kan náà òun ni à ń fún ọmọ Yorùbá kẹ́yìn náà sọ̀rọ̀ lórí Star Radio UK kẹ́tẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí international radio station kẹ́yìn náà lè gbóhùn yín síta torí pé gbogbo nǹkan tó sì máa lò lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la lélẹ́yìí nígbà tí gbogbo ẹ̀ bá di tó bá di iṣẹ́ kó dì ẹgbọ́n sókè alàgbà à ń gbọ́ yín. ẹ gbọ́ wa o nǹkan mi lẹ́ ń gbọ́ o. hello.
mo ní láti Èkó mo ti ń pè yín sà.
láti Èkó ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò bàbá wa à ń gbọ́ yín sà.
Ọlọ́run àtúbọ̀ fún yín ṣe sà o.
a fún gbogbo wa ṣe àmín.
ẹ rí nǹkan tí ìbùkún fẹ́ sọ ni pé káwọn èèyàn wa túbọ̀ múra.
ok.
àwọn bàbá wa wọ̀nyẹn àwọn ilé tó bá ní nǹkan tí ilé kan kò jù jáde àsìkò ní láti lò ó.
ok.
àsìkò táwa yẹn ó ṣá àsìkò táwọn bàbá yẹn kò lè kó jáde láti lò ó. gbogbo ilé tán kó sójà wá tẹ everybody ń wo sójà ń ràn yẹn tí sójà bá ti kọjú sẹ́yìn ọ̀gá jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn kọjú sí wọn. ó ti dé kòríta yẹn báyìí sà. àkókò rí láti jà fúnra wa.
ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa ó dà pé àwọn ọmọ Oòduà wà pẹ̀lú yín ẹja fi sílẹ̀ mo rí ẹ ń bẹ̀ Adékúnlé Adépọ̀jù ó ní òun ti wà nílùú ìsàlẹ̀ lọ́hùn-ún ní tá à ń sọ nìyẹn àwọn kan do and talk ní ẹ náà àwọn diaspora wá sílé àwọn kan náà wà nísàlẹ̀ tó ti wọlé Yorùbá pátápátá tó ń bẹ níbẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò tí à ń pè ní Star Radio UK Star Radio UK níbi tí a ti ń sọ pé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá a ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti béèrè fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa ẹ̀tọ́ náà tí à ń béèrè kò ní pa wá lára gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá a gbọ́dọ̀ jáde mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà ní Saudi Arabia mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà ní Kogi mo kí àwa Kogi mo kí bàbá lẹ́kìtì ní ìlú Èkìtì mo kí gbogbo àwọn tó wà lẹ́kìtì mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà ní Kwara mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà nílùú Ọ̀ṣun Ondo àti Ogun State ní ọ̀la ní ọjà Kẹsàn-án ní Ọ̀yọ́ láti máa pàdé ẹgbẹ́ òsókè ẹni tó ń pè wá. ẹjẹ́ ajẹ́kọ́ lọ torí pé location 9 tí a mọ̀ sí ìlú Nàìjíríà ẹjẹ́ lọ sí òkè lọ́hùn. wàlékún sàlá ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ìyá wa.
àtìmọ̀mí náà tẹ̀lé yìí ẹ̀rí nígbà míì àwọn tó bá fẹ́ dá sétò kí máa ń yí wọn torí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ̀ wà láwùjáde owó tí wọ́n contribute tí wọ́n fi ṣe so many things àwọn mélòó ló fẹ́ dá ní Nàìjíríà so many aspects tẹ̀ wà ní outside take risk ara yín ìdámọ̀ fowó ìdámọ̀ of everything lọ ní òtútù lọ ṣe gbẹ́ lọ sàwọ́ nígbà tó bá ní kẹ́ ẹ bọ́lẹ̀ ẹ dákun gbogbo àwọn aspect ìdámọ̀ fún ìfúnmọ́ni ìdámọ̀ everything àwọn olófẹ́ máa dà wọ́n olófẹ́ máa dé ṣébi tẹ́tí ebi ti pa wọ́n nílé tó ti ń jìyà everything ti ṣe wọ́n dé ibẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n ti kú ibẹ̀ yẹn náà ti fẹ́ dá owó ni àmọ́ pé iṣẹ́ kékeré kọ́ lẹ́yìn bẹ̀ wà láwùsáì náà ṣe ni nígbà tó bá ní kẹ́yìn náà máa bọ́lẹ̀ àwọn yóò kí máa hù dáadáa kó tó di pé yóò kàn máa sọ̀rọ̀ àti tó lè jẹ́ àwọn ẹni bí ìròyìn náà nígbà tó torí kì í ṣe gbogbo èèyàn kan ló ṣe trust ìtàn pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ìyáwó àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ náà máa bọ́lẹ̀ àníyàn wọn sọ̀tọ̀ kò sì fún ọlọ́run wà nílẹ̀ gbogbo ìgbìyànjú wọn tó bá dákàn fi sàn jù bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá dákàn fi sàn sílẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ọlọ́run àkókò àfẹ́rí wọn lágbára ọlọ́run wọlá wí bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bẹ́ẹ̀ wọn borí gbogbo wọn tó bá dákàn bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ láàrin gbogbo wa a máa borí torí oore tọ́lọ̀ ti ṣe fún gbogbo wa ni a sì máa délẹ̀ ṣáà ọ̀rọ̀ wa.
àmín ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹ ṣé gan ni ìyá wa mo kí yín dáadáa láti òkè ọya lọ́hùn àfi dárúkọ ìlú náà mo kí ìyá wa Ọ̀jọ́rá Elizabeth tí mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ dárúkọ yín ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹni tó ń pè yìí kò já géré ni ẹgbọ́n sókè ẹ bá jẹ́ kó tún wọlé tó bá ti kò wọlé bẹ̀ ṣe ń pè ní kò wọlé àdẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ múlòkùn bí òtún Yorùbá yẹn gbogbo ẹ ti lọ́jú pọ̀ ẹgbọ́n sókè à ń gbọ́ yín bàbá wa ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò.
God bless you ẹ̀gbọ́n mi wàhálà inú mi ò dùn rárá ọlọ́run condition tí mo wà bíbá yóò tẹ́ mi lọ́rùn.
a wà lórí program ṣẹfẹ́ dá sórí ètò ni condition tó ẹ̀rí à ń gbọ́ àgbàtẹ́ ní condition yẹn náà àyà mi já náà ni condition gbogbo Nàìjíríà ọ̀dà tẹ́lẹ̀ moment tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ owó adé ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ moment tó ń sọ̀rọ̀.
ìkọ́ tí mo fẹ́ pààyàn bí ọ̀rọ̀ ní program gbà wá lẹ́ni pé ṣẹ́rí lórí àwọn ti sójà yẹn ẹ rántí àwọn tí wọ́n lọ sí Abẹ́òkúta yẹn àwọn tí wọ́n àtáàkì yẹn bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn ń sọ nígbà tó ní wọ́n àtáàkì yẹn àwọn náà tó àtáàkì òun láti máa yẹ ó wà very brief ó wà active ó ní òun nọ́tìsì pé yúnífọ́ọ̀mù máa yẹn jẹ́ ibi tó pé kò sí nọ́mbà kò lè sorúkọ kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ tó sọ ordinary camouflage lásán lọ́wọ́ ti understand this ìyẹn yọkọ ká kọ́kọ́ dì yẹn mú ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ń bẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn sọ pé kọ́ àtáàkì wọn kò tí tó táìmù tó yẹ ká àtáàkì báyìí wọ́n jẹ́ ká kí láti yẹ kọ́kọ́ lọ ráàdì bóyá fẹ́ lọ ráàdì yẹn náà nígbà tá a bá ti wá ọkọ̀ báyìí gbogbo everywhere then anybody tó bá fẹ́ àtáàkì wa gbà yẹ ká wá wò tó bá gbá wa lójú bóyá wa náà nígbà tí wà padà.
so n tẹ́ ń sọ nísìnyí pé ká sì máa lọ pẹ̀lú rálì yẹn bí bàbá wa ṣe ń sọ fún wa.
ó ṣe lù báyìí instruction gangan ní kókó instruction òun gangan ní kókó ẹ kárí ọ̀la fún wa ṣiṣẹ́.
mo kí gbogbo àwọn tó wà pẹ̀lú nísàlẹ̀ ńbẹ̀ kò ní bàjẹ́ fún gbogbo wa kò ní bàjẹ́ fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá mo kí bàbá wa tó ti wà lórí Star Radio UK lórí fọ́nrán wa Adékúnlé Abíọ́dún wọ́n ní Chief Dr. Sunday Adéyẹmọ has no document with him then just to come out for agitation but the only people that are familiar to the Yoruba Nation documentations are the problem of the 60 million people of indigenous of Yoruba. Mo kí bàbá wa Ayọ̀láwà Kúnlé àbí òun ni nọ́mbà yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń pè àgbọ̀yìn ó ń lọ bí hello. Ó ti wọlé yáyá kẹ́ ẹ ṣe kíákíá torí pé láìní yóò da à ń gbọ́ yín. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò nìyẹn.
yóò mọ ju iṣẹ́ o.
A ju gbogbo wa ṣe lágbára Ọlọ́run.
orúkọ tèmi ni Ajíbọ́lá Azeez.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò bàbá wa Jíbọ́lá Azeez.
Ìfọlá àwọn Yorùbá nation.
Kí lẹ fẹ́ bá wa sọ lálẹ́ yìí?
nǹkan tí mo kàn fẹ́ sọ náà ni wípé bá wa sọ fáwọn èèyàn kan bá wa jáde dáadáa lọ́yọ̀ state lọ́la. Ọ̀sán kan ti wà lọ́yọ̀ state rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀dí báyìí àti wà mí ọ̀rẹ́ dì.
Ṣé pẹ̀yìn ti wà nísàlẹ̀ bí ṣe ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí?
A ti wà lọ́yọ̀ state ọ̀rẹ́ dì bá ti wà ní interchange lọ́jọ́ Saturday náà láti sí lọ́yọ̀ state.
Àwọn aléyò tẹ̀ ń ṣe wọ́n ń ṣe iyèméjì ṣé pé ìta ń bá lọ yìí ọkàn yín sì balẹ̀ sí i àbẹ́yìn ṣe iyèméjì?
100%. Even though aṣọ tí wọ́n pín lọ́jọ́ Saturday láti US láǹfààní láti gbà níbẹ̀.
Kábíyèsí ẹ jẹ́ a dúpẹ́ fáwọn ìlànà US nìyẹn ṣé pé nínú pópó káwọn kan náà wọ́n rí ẹ̀yin tún rí kan gbà nínú ẹ̀.
100%.
Àdúpẹ́ fọlọ́run ọmọ ẹ ti fi hàn pé ọmọ ọkọ Yorùbá lẹ́yìn ọmọ ọkọ Yorùbá lẹ jẹ́ àdẹ̀dúpẹ́ fún yín pé ẹ wà ní interchange ẹ tún fi ń tó mi létí pé ẹ ti wà nílùú Ọ̀yọ́ bẹ ṣe ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí pé lágbára tẹlẹ́dùmarè. Ẹ má tún sọ̀rọ̀ jù ó dàbẹ̀ ẹ máa ṣe fàájì lọ tí ọ̀là máa fi mọ́ bá wa mókè wọn tẹ́jọ́ wà níbẹ̀ lórí ètò Star Radio wọ́n ti gbọ́ yín báyìí ẹ̀yin náà ti login nìyẹn o torí pé tó bá dìgbà tí a bá máa múra àwọn fídíò báyìí jáde fún international community a sọ pé bàbá wa kan náà wọ́n pè wá láti ìlú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó sọ pé àwọn sì fọkàn àwọn balẹ̀ pé sẹ́ 100% ní kò sí tó máa dá dúró ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹ jẹ́ àtúnjẹ́ kẹ́lòmíì wọlé mo máa kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá àsìkò tá a fi ń bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ yìí mo kí ẹ dáadáa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Adékúnlé tèmi Ṣóbáyọ̀ John mo kí yín ìyá wa Fúnmiláyọ̀ mo tó bẹ́ẹ̀ láti pẹ́ nìkan kan lórúkọ àbáwọn leaders wa jà a sọ̀rọ̀ sí wọn ìbéèrè táwọn èèyàn ń bi wá òun la fi ń dá wọn lóhùn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà ti ń sọ pé bàbá Koiki ẹ bá wa activate kíni mo ní kò ń ṣèmi ló wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ kọ́kọ́rọ́ yẹn kò sí lọ́wọ́ Koiki kò sí lọ́wọ́ tiwa instruction là ń tẹ̀lé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní àníkẹ́ ṣí kọ́kọ́rọ́ yẹn kẹ́ establish ẹ̀ kí gbogbo state kó activate ọmọ Yorùbá ti bínú tán bàbá wa Liu ẹgbọ́n sókè ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò mo kí yín o gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí darapọ̀ mọ́ wa orí ètò Star Radio UK òun la wà lálẹ́ yìí tá a ti ń jẹ ọlá Yorùbá Nation à ń gbọ́ yín ẹ káàbọ̀.
àti ìlú arúgbó jẹ yín o.
àmì o àṣẹ
ní ṣubú dànù.
àṣẹ.
ìgbà ọ̀tá òde ní ká ayélujára Ọlọ́run.
olórí àdúrà nìyẹn torí pé wọ́n ń sapá lóríṣiríṣi lọ́tún lọ́sì àdúpẹ́ fọlọ́run ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa.
wọ́n á máa ṣe ni. wọ́n á máa ṣe ni. ẹnu lẹ́sẹ̀ fi ń pa èkúrò ojú ọ̀nà.
máa ń gbádùn àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ó ń wù mí lórí mo kọ̀ lówó ná fún yín ni ẹ ṣé gan ni mo dúpẹ́.
àgbẹ̀kọ̀ ẹ fowó ilẹ̀ èyí tẹ́ ti ṣe inú ọ̀rọ̀ wa lójú.
kábíyèsí ẹ.
ẹ ṣeun ẹ dákun ẹjọ́ ti tòrò lọ mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá wa sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ pátápátá.
àgbọ́yé wọ́n gbọ́ yín.
ìlú Ọ̀yọ́.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
lórí ọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan jíjẹ. kí ó jẹ́ wípé nǹkan tí ó kálukú bá máa jẹ kó jẹ́ pé láti ọwọ́ ẹni tí a mojú ara wa.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni bó ṣe láti rí gan náà lẹ ti sọ yẹn.
ẹ bá wa ṣètò kó jẹ́ pé àwọn ara wa tá a mojú ara wa náà.
ok ẹ̀ka tó parí ètò àmẹ́sọ̀nẹ̀ lálẹ́ yìí ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹ bá ń kí gbogbo àwọn tí ẹ jọ wà níbi tí ẹ ti ń ṣe fàájì ní kékeré níbẹ̀ yẹn pé láti inú Star Radio ibi báyìí à ń kí yín dáadáa mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá mo jẹ́ kó parí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn mo kí ẹ dáadáa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Àjọkẹ́ tèmi mo kí grand official ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ń béèrè pé election 2023 ńkọ́ báwo ló ṣe máa wáyé àwa ń sọ pé election sí kankan tó kàn wá pẹ̀lú yẹn tí wọ́n bá ń sọ pé wọ́n ń kó yín lọ sínú 2023 ẹ má jẹ́ kí wọ́n mix mind wa torí pé àti àwọn tí wọ́n ti declare tó jẹ́ ìyàwó onítìrí àti reclamation gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ṣì wà nínú 2022 but àníṣe gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ já dìde níbi tí a ti máa sọ fún àgbáyé pé this is Star Radio UK your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London as we are still talking to our people. ẹ bá mute background yẹn ẹ mute tẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ mi yẹn ẹ ti wọlé. hello.
ẹ kálẹ́ sá pàtàrọ̀.
ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ pààyàn tẹ́ fi ń gbọ́ wa because a ṣe ń gbọ́ feed tó ń jáde if not a máa disconnect nìyẹn ẹ pa pátápátá láti bolẹ̀ tí ń pè wá torí pé mo rí pé nọ́mbà ìlú kan ni tó ní bíi +225 ìlú wo nìyẹn gbóhùn sókè.
Ivory Coast ni.
ṣé pé ń gbọ́ wa kétékété nílùú Ivory Coast ní Star Radio UK.
wàhálà pẹ̀lú gọlọ́.
ẹ bá wa dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ àwa nìyẹn.
pẹ̀lú gọlọ́ ọlọ́gun adélẹ̀ lórí pẹ̀lú ayọ̀ tàlàfíà. àti gbogbo yín àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin mídíà. ọlọ́run àlọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run yìí lọ́wọ́. pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa pẹ̀lú gọlọ́. adélẹ̀ lórí pẹ̀lú ayọ̀ tàlàfíà. alákè ní sá.
ọ̀dà ìyẹn náà dáa tá a bá ń gbọ́ àwọn tó ń gbọ́ wa láti Ivory Coast. In the last almost 40 minutes, we have been speaking to our people that are calling in, asking questions. Some of the questions that came on the Star Radio UK for the benefit of those that are not understanding that beautiful language is a message was also by one of our callers from Germany saying that we should pass it to our leaders. Somebody talked about the logistics. Somebody also asked, we must know what we are doing as Yoruba people. We are still live on Star Radio UK. Mo wá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo community sí community. Àwọn kan ní ẹ jẹ́ kí kíní di woro sí woro. Mo ní ó ń bọ̀ náà ni. Àwọn ló tún pè wá lórí group call. Kò ń ṣe nínú àwọn ESCO kan nìyẹn. Wọ́n tó fẹ́ pè wá sínú group call. Mo ní no, a lè bọ́ sínú group call nísìnyí. Irúmọlẹ̀ ńlá àgbáwo mo kí yín dáadáa. Irúmọlẹ̀ ńlá àgbáwo. Èmi náà ni àbúrò yín ọmọ yín. Àjù báyìí lọ àmọ́ ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀ a ní mídíà tó dúró dáadáa tó máa sọ fún gbogbo àgbáyé nínú Star Radio yìí wọ́n ń gbọ́ wa kétékété níbi tó yẹ kó gbọ́dé nítorí pé ọdún 5 òun la ti fi ń ṣètò lórí bíbà yìí àsìkò dẹ̀ tó tọmọ Yorùbá sọ pé ilé tó lọ. Gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ jíjẹ múmu a nígbà oúnjẹ lọ́wọ́ ẹni tí a bá mọ̀ rárá nínú rally nítorí pé ọ̀rọ̀ oúnjẹ jíjẹ nínú rally ó ṣe kókó kò ń ṣe ń takọ̀ lè máa gbọ́ oúnjẹ lọ́wọ́ anybody. Last look, it is cold in London, Mr. Koiki. Look, all what do and others, but we must be careful. Is òyìnbó yẹn ó ti lọ. Mo kí àwa comfort kí dáadáa. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa lórí Star Radio UK tí ẹ ti wọlé. Comment ti sùn lọ rẹpẹtẹ. Some of us send money back home. This money is a lot. It is what a lot are living on. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni mo agree pẹ̀lú ìyá wa àbí bàbá wa dẹ̀ni Bọ́ládé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ diaspora ló ń survive àwọn tó wà nílé tí àwọn èèyàn bá ń sọ pé come back home. Tí a bá come back home ebi á pa gbogbo wa torí pé Nàìjíríà kò ní kankan tó ṣe fún gbogbo wa. Mú ìwọ Ọ̀ṣunígà mú kí n lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. Mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà lórí fọ́nrán Star Radio UK tí ẹ ti ń wò wá. Ta ló ní Twitter ẹni tó bá ní Twitter mórí ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ pẹ̀lú mi come into the Zoom ṣé nínú Star Radio tí mo wà náà ni màá tún come into the Zoom báwo ṣe máa pínra mi sí méjì ni wàhálà má ti wà báyìí wọ́n tún ní kí n tún wá sínú Zoom àwọn kan pè mí sínú group call gbogbo ẹ ti wá di báwo la tún ṣe fẹ́ mọ Zoom meeting báyìí nígbà tá a wà lórí Star Radio fọ́nrán báyìí mo kí bàbá wa Jàyí Sunday ẹgbẹ́ òsókè Mr John ẹ ti wà pẹ̀lú mi lórí Star Radio UK kí lẹ fẹ́ bá wa sọ lálẹ́ yìí.
Bàbá àgbàlagbà.
Ṣé pé mo ti di bàbá báyìí èmi ọmọ kékeré lẹ pè ní bàbá báyìí èmi ọmọ kékeré lẹ pè ní bàbá ẹ má má dẹ́rù bà mí.
Ọlọ́run ló fi ẹ sípò àgbà.
kábíyèsí Elédùmarè o ẹ gbà mí Àjọkẹ́ proper ẹ̀yin ará Ìjẹ̀bú ẹ gbà mí o wọ́n ní mo ti di bàbá báyìí o.
Ẹni tí ó bá ṣe ohun tágbà ń ṣe bàbá náà la máa ń pè.
Elédùmarè ọba o kábíyèsí ẹ ó yá.
Adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run fún ọpọlọ àti ìmọ̀ tọ́lọ́run tó kún fún ẹ̀kọ́dẹ̀ ní bàjẹ́ bá lórúkọ Jésù.
Ìfẹ́ náà là ń wá láàrin gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa àwọn ò fẹ́ jẹ́ ká pín yẹlẹyẹlẹ adẹ̀gbọ́dọ̀ máa gbé àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ rò pé bí a ti bá sọ̀rọ̀ lọ báyìí kò yé wọn ní ìtàn pè ní Bọ́lẹ̀ Kájà Media ó yàtọ̀ sẹ́mi èmi gbọ́dọ̀ gbé báyìí kí n gbé báyìí kí wọ́n jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá rí pé mo sọ ní gbogbo ìgbà mo ní pyramid yẹn gbọ́dọ̀ join tó bá ti join àṣírí federal government a máa fàyà lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ àmọ́ lágbára Elédùmarè pyramid yẹn máa join ẹ bá wa sọ tẹ máa bá wa sọ lálẹ́ bàbá wa tó máa ń gbádùn ọ̀rọ̀ yín ẹ̀gbọ́n sókè.
Mo máa ń gbádùn yín ní gbogbo ọgbà nítorí pé kò sígbà tẹ bá ti wà lórí láì àyàfi tí máa bísí lọ.
jẹ́ ìṣe tán máa join yín.
ètò yìí mo dẹ̀ máa ń gbọ́ táwọn ẹlòmíì náà máa ń tẹ̀kọ̀ tí mi ò kí ń lísìn sí wọn. torí pé àkókò téèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ wà very very careful ni. mo tẹ̀lé fídíò kan sí yín recently. wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé àfa yẹn ní Kòròdú níbàyí ló ti ṣẹlẹ̀. Kòròdú níbàyí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ lánàá.
Lánàá.
wọ́n mú àfa yes wọ́n mú àfa yẹn wọ́n tẹ̀ pa gbogbo.
ó kí ó dà pé mo rí fídíò yẹn àpá kan ló ṣe fídíò yẹn jáde àbí tó dé fìlà báyìí nẹ́tíwọ̀kì yẹn ti lọ mẹ́wàá ń bẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá mo kí bàbá confam JP mo kí gbogbo àwọn medias wa the world media máa wà on láìpẹ́ yìí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn ẹ dáwó sínú YSDF ẹ dáwó sínú òmìnira méjèèjì là ń polongo níbí báyìí àwọn ọ̀gbáyàn kankan jà intan sọ ni pé pyramid ó gbọ́dọ̀ join èmi ò dẹ̀ ní jókòó síbí ẹgbọ́n sókè ẹgbọ́n sókè à ń gbọ́ yín bàbá wa.
ẹ má bínú jàre àwọn láìkan ló wọlé tó ń disturb mi mo try láti cut ẹ off.
à ń gbọ́ yín.
White Lion so irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn àwọn èèyàn tẹ̀ ń pariwo fún pé wọ́n dìde kàn jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe kínní yìí kàn jẹ́ ká jọ jẹ̀jà agbára yìí kàn dìde wọ́n ti ń kàn wọ́n lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan nìyí. mi ò yọ àwọn tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí i bí ó ṣe pé a gbọ́dọ̀ tètè wake up àní tẹ́ bá wò àwa location 9 mo wà sí gbogbo ẹ ti die down bí ọ̀rọ̀ polongo ìbò gangan gbogbo ẹ die down wọ̀ sí àgbọ̀n kankan because àwọn náà wá plan ní nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́n nínú ká gbọ́n lẹ́yìn ṣe mọ̀ pé nǹkan tó kọjú sẹ́nìkan ẹ̀yìn ló kọ sẹ́nìkan bí ìlú gangan èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ wà very careful ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́n nínú ká dẹ̀ gbọ́n lẹ́yìn Yorùbá wọ́n máa ń ṣe nǹkan pẹ̀lú ọgbọ́n ni àtòyé òye dẹ̀làgbà wò káwọn àgbà wa tó ń wòye ká tó gbé nǹkan kalẹ̀ torí wọ́n ti wo gbogbo tá a fẹ́ bá yọ ibẹ̀ yẹn náà ń lé sí wọ́n lè káàkiri ń sìn wọ́n ráyè ìpolongo ògùn mọ́ sí wọ́n sì ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ tí kò dàbí so a gbọ́dọ̀ wà very careful láti mọ nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe.
ọ̀rọ̀ mẹ́ta lẹ mú jáde bàbá ọ̀rọ̀ mẹ́ta tẹ mú jáde tí bá gbọ́ yín dáadáa for the benefit of àwọn tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ wa ẹni àsìkò time is very important ẹni ká wà very careful ẹni with wisdom ọ̀rọ̀ mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yẹn mo kọ́ sílẹ̀.
yes olórí ó ṣe pàtàkì gan ó ṣe pàtàkì a gbọ́dọ̀ wà focus because gẹ́gẹ́ bí kọ́là kan yẹ sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan pé nǹkan tá a bá fẹ́ gbàjẹ́ mo dẹ̀ tó ń gbọ́ tí kọ́là kan tó sọ pé aṣọ bí uniform pé káyìn rèéṣẹ̀ wọn àbá ẹ̀ because àwọn kan wá ti wo uniform tẹ́fẹ́ lò wọ́n lọ rán nítorí láti fi dá wàhálà lẹ̀. ọtí nǹkan tó yẹ ká ṣe ni pé àwa tá a mọra wa tá a jáde tá a bá ti rí ẹni tó fẹ́ dá wàhálà lẹ̀ ká bù so.
ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa.
kápòso ká lè mọ nǹkan epo ló ti wá irú ẹgbẹ́ wo ló ń ṣe ọdún gbogbo ẹ máa níyànjú lágbára Ọlọ́run ọdún yìí náà ni.
lágbára Ọlọ́run ẹ ṣé gan ni.
lọ́kàn tèmi ọdún yìí ni nígbàgbọ́ mi ọdún yìí ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe máa rí.
thank you so much. ẹ ṣé gan ni.
ẹ ṣé ẹkú iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run àwa pẹ̀lú Ọlọ́run àdúró tì yín.
àmì ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa. wọ́n ní kí n máa jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn wá sọ̀rọ̀ kí yẹn máa sọ̀rọ̀ ó bá àwọn ẹ má bínú ẹ mọ̀ pé nígbà míì àwa mídíà ẹ máa gbẹnu dákẹ́ náà ni. ó yá ẹgbọ́n sókè bàbá wa tó wọlé ẹja gbé látọ̀dọ̀ fún yín ẹ̀ka lẹ́sà.
White Lion.
à ń gbọ́ yín o.
ẹkú iṣẹ́ ìlú Ọlọ́run àbá fún iṣẹ́ o.
a fún gbogbo wa ṣe.
Ọlọ́run àbá fún mi àti ẹ̀jẹ̀ ara mi ṣe.
àmín.
mo fẹ́ sọ ní wípé mo tẹ̀ máa ń gbádùn fúrógámù ni. tẹ̀lé àwọn mídíà oríṣiríṣi ló máa ń ta. àwọn ìròyìn ẹlẹ́jẹ̀ ló máa lọ máa mú wá. wàá tún mọ̀ lọ́dà bá ti kọ́ lẹ́nu ní báyìí. òun ló máa ṣe wá láǹfààní.
ẹ ṣé gan ni.
ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló ti bá ọba àṣìlẹ̀ gbogbo ẹbí rẹ̀ lẹ̀ kábọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìrìn.
ẹ ṣé gan ni.
pọ̀tàfẹ́ sọ fún ènìyàn. ṣùgbọ́n ẹ ń ṣe lọ ẹ̀ fún ọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa tó a tẹ̀ ẹ́ lé tí ìgbàdàn fẹ́ fagbó everybody bọ́ta.
so ẹ̀yin tí bá gbọ́ yín dáadáa ẹ̀yin ò lè wait pé kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kọ́ lu aago yẹn kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó rúgbó jáde.
kí gbogbo ẹ̀ rúgbó jáde. kápálọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ni ti jẹ́.
ẹ má ẹ̀ka sọ yẹn ẹ̀jẹ̀ má ẹ̀ka tẹ̀ sọ yẹn níbí pé kó rúgbó jáde yẹn yẹn ṣe é sọ torí pé orí platform tí a wà náà ni kò ń ṣe fún kankan kò ń ṣe pẹ́rù ń bà wá.
Ọlọ́run máa fún yín sọ̀rọ̀.
a fún gbogbo wa ṣe ẹ ṣé gan ni mo like ẹran tí bàbá yìí fi ṣe status ẹ bí ẹran tá máa pa nínú rally nìyẹn ẹ já lọ sọ́dọ̀ ìkànnì àwọn artist wa olórin làwọn orin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lóríṣiríṣi ló ti bá wa kọ nínú ìrìn àjò yìí mo máa kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa tí ẹ ti ń wò wá ẹ gbóhùn sókè bàbá wa ẹ já gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ tiyín náà.
ẹ ká lẹ́sà ẹ ránṣẹ́ ẹkú ṣáà.
ẹ káàbọ̀ dádì ẹ káàbọ̀ sà.
yíyá mo mọ̀ pé tí mo fẹ́ dáadáa mi ò nílò láti dárúkọ mi.
kò necessary ẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀.
àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá a ní láti wà very very careful. mi ò lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti wọlé láti jọ́ kí n ṣàlàyé fún yín ni. ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ iná tó jó lápáta ni ó ṣojú mi. ojú mi kòrókòrò báyìí ló ṣe kì í ṣe pé wọ́n sọ fún mi. ẹ lè bílí pé other side ni mo wà side yẹn gbogbo ló yẹ kí n wà side ibi tí trailer yẹn ti ṣubú ló yẹ kí n wà ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀mí yẹn ò kàn fún mi láyè láti cross side yẹn pé kí n wà ní side. orí kọ́ọ̀ ni mo wà ni mo ní trailer yẹn tó ń da bíbọ̀ so free tó ń dàbọ̀ ló gbá mọ́tò bọ̀ láti ẹ̀yìn mo wá ń wò pé olú dírẹ́bà wo ló ń wa mọ́tò tó ń gbá tó ń kọlu àwọn èèyàn ṣé nígbà tí máa nọ̀rọ̀ láti ẹgbẹ́ tí máa yọjú wo inú mọ́tò ẹ̀ níbi ìfẹ́ kò sí dírẹ́bà nínú mọ́tò yẹn.
kábèsè Elédùmarè o irọ́ lẹ pa o.
ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó jó iná tó jó lápáta yẹn ni mo sọ fún yín yìí o.
òun náà lèmi náà ń dá yín lèmi náà ń béèrè pé ẹ ṣúọ̀ pé ẹ rí dírẹ́bà nínú ẹ̀.
kò sí dírẹ́bà nínú ẹ̀ ó ṣojú mi kòrókòrò Ọlọ́run ló yọ mí kálẹ̀ gbẹ̀bẹ̀ ni mo wà lèmi ló bàbá ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn lọ. mo rí kò sí dírẹ́bà nínú ẹ̀ everybody àwọn lady security tí wọ́n wà ní banks gbogbo wọ́n ní in fact àwọn ní dírẹ́bà yẹn tó sọ̀kalẹ̀ wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀yà ni tó sá gálagàla but wọ́n lè sọ irú èèyàn tó jẹ́ so these people ní ìwòye mi ni wípé bí ìgbà pé gbogbo àwọn strategic area tó mọ̀ pé àwọn èrò máa ń pọ̀ sí kọ́kọ́ sí havoc níbẹ̀ láti sun ilé tàbí láti sun àdúgbò tàbí láti bà dúkìá jẹ́ because ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ dúkìá ló lọ sí ibẹ̀ yẹn níjọ́ Thursday yẹn.
Wow.
So the only solution fún wa gbogbo strategy oríṣiríṣi because mo mọ̀ pé ẹni tó ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn is a premeditated work iṣẹ́ tó plan pọ̀ fún wa ṣe.
ṣé pé kò ń ṣe pé nǹkan tí a bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ sọ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ tó di ọ̀rọ̀ bí investigation so intense sọ nísìnyí pé kò ń ṣe accident lẹ́yìn rí pé ó ṣẹlẹ̀ níbẹ̀ yẹn.
kò sí dírẹ́bà nínú mọ́tò yẹn kò séèyàn kankan níwájú. kò séèyàn kankan níwájú mọ́tò yẹn bí mọ́tò yẹn ti ṣe dé free tó máa wọ́n ní lẹ́ni ẹ ti kúkúrò ló ti sọ̀kalẹ̀ nínú mọ́tò náà fi mọ́tò yẹn lẹ̀ tó ń da free bọ̀ síbi tó wà dà sí kó tó di pé náà bẹ́ẹ̀.
Ọ̀dà ẹ ṣé gan bàbá wa àwọn tí wọ́n kú nínú ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà k'Elédùmarè Ọlọ́run ọba kó bá wa tẹ́ wọn sáfẹ́fẹ́ rere gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá òun náà ni ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ lórí ètò Star Radio. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Haúsá ní Katsina ní ìjẹta kọ́ ni 28 people were killed. You are still with us on Star Radio UK as we continue to take calls from all our Yoruba listeners from around the world. Ẹgbọ́n sókè bàbá wa tó ti pè wọlé àbí ìyá wa dẹ̀ ni.
Mr. Koiki kálẹ̀ o.
Ẹ kálẹ̀ sà, ètò ni ẹ sà.
Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí Yorùbá nation náà jẹ́ kó gbọ́ sí lágbára Ọlọ́run.
Àmín.
Mo fẹ́ dá sétò ni.
Ẹ ti wà lórí ẹ̀ bàbá wa.
Ìwọ tí mo kọ́ fẹ́ sọ ni pé mo fẹ́ kẹ́ máa ní sùúrù. Sùúrù tí mo sọ ni pé iṣẹ́ yín ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń ṣiṣẹ́ jù. So ẹni tó bá ń ṣiṣẹ́ jù àwọn èèyàn máa sọ̀rọ̀ láì dáa because inú wọn máa bí wọn wípé sẹ́ni yìí nìkan ni sẹ́ni yìí nìkan ni. So but mo láìkí kọ̀ọ̀kan kí n dá wọn lóhùn. So tẹ́yẹ̀ bá ń dá wọn lóhùn ó dàbí gbà pé ìyẹn ń waste time ààrẹ yẹn ni. So ilẹ̀ Yorùbá Ọlọ́run àjẹkósojú ẹ̀mí lágbára Ọlọ́run gbogbo wàhálà yín kò ní já sásán. So lẹ́ẹ̀kejì ni pé tí wọ́n bá ń ṣe rálì lọ because èmi ò sí Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n bá ń ṣe rálì lọ mo fẹ́ kí ẹgbà àwọn èèyàn nímọ̀ràn kẹ́nìbọ̀dì bá fẹ́ àtàkì wọn kí wọ́n má sá fún wọn kẹ́nìbọ̀dì má sá lọ because láàrin ìbáwọ̀ báwọn òyìnbó sí máa ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá ń ṣe rálì òbí sẹ́nìbọ̀dì tó máa sá so tí wọ́n bá ti ń sá yẹn wọ́n ti ń fún àwọn pípò yẹn ní power láti lè jẹ́ pé kí wọ́n impress wọn so that kí wọ́n dúró kí coordinator yẹn sọ fún wọn pé kí wọ́n dúró so another thing ni pé mo wò ó pé ìmọ̀ràn ni o àwọn radio station tó wà ní Nàìjíríà so mo wish pé ká kọ lẹ́tà sí wọn yí pé a fẹ́ máa ṣe program so that kọ́ mọ bá wọn announce lórí rédíò tó tí wọn bá gbà ájú ọjọ́ iwájú a máa ní ìyẹn sílẹ̀ ṣọkọ tó fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn.
ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa mo máa ń láìkì káwọn èèyàn bá fún wa ní ìmọ̀ràn torí pé ìmọ̀ràn náà òun ni a fi ń to ètò náà ẹ jà lọ sọ́dọ̀ ìyá wa kí àwọn ló máa jẹ́ ìyá wa tó kọ́kọ́ pè wọlé nínú Star Radio bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ní tó fi bá wa sọ ẹgbọ́n sókè ti wọlé mo kí bàbá wa Dayọ̀ Gúnlẹ́yẹ ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò.
Ẹ kú iṣẹ́.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ bàbá.
Well done my brother.
Thank you.
Contribution to me or my concern is a concern.
Okay.
Because I saw something that about a woman that was bitterly crying about this movement. My concern is not only that woman. A lot of people are crying inside because of our leader. Not all our leader, in particular, our lady leader, Mama Onitiru. Because we Yorubas, we don't tend to be telling the truth. We like to hide or be manipulative or hiding things as if it's not there. This time, we need to speak out the truth and the reality. I'm pleading because it really worries me. Sometimes it causes me sleepless nights. Mama Onitiru should appeal to the voices of people. Yorùbá máa ń sọ pé èèyàn kan ṣoṣo kì í jẹ́ àwádé. A tree can never make a forest. It's high time she yields to the voice of the people. She is not bigger than Yoruba. Although she has been a strong power, in this movement. But she needs to listen to people. She needs to cooperate and work with the other leaders because that's what is causing lapses in this movement. And people are concerned, people are asking questions, people are worried. A lot of people, they've withdrawn because of this, this distraction and disorganization, people saying this, people saying that. They've declared, they've declaimed, they've proclaimed, there's no effect. So why are we lying to ourselves? And some people, they are still saying, oh, she's done it, it's done. Done where? This is the time we have to face the reality. We are in the war. Either we like it or we don't like it. The war is on our doorstep. We need to stand in agreement and face our common enemy. Not we Yorubas fighting ourselves, not the leaders disagree. It's really a concern, big concern for everyone. Mama Onitiru, I really love you. I will never abuse you. But it's high time you lead to people's crime. A lot of people
this distraction and division. Even there's a woman that said her mom died because of this problem. She should please. She's a mother, and she's the only lady among the front leaders. She should be the one to mediate and make peace within other people. She should please listen to us. She should edit to our voices. It's high time she work with our leaders.
Okay.
You cannot do it alone.
Okay.
And we are not seeing the effect of whatever she's saying. It's high time. I'm pleading personally. It's high time. Enough is enough. We can't be deceiving ourselves. Calling monkey the dog. It's high time.
Okay.
We wake up from our sleeps. And people on their platform backing her up, they should tell her the truth. They know the truth from their platform.
So if I get you, I've got your message, concern and pleading. But this concern and the pleading, is this something that we can just say for now, maybe due to the tension, we should just let it be? Or is this something that will continue to develop if we don't stop it?
If we don't stop it now, then I can see that it's falling apart.
Okay.
And it's causing a concern that are we really serious? What are we doing? That's why people are asking questions day by day. So it's high time this issue is solved.
Okay.
And we can move forward.
And I'm sure this will be resolved. Whether as a lot of us will wake up maybe tomorrow and then the three leaders will speak to us. Who knows? Like I said at the beginning, the first hour of this program, this was exactly what we discussed. Again, I still believe, I'm very positive, the pyramid will join. Is it a script that is playing out? We don't know. And when there's a script playing out, T-Urban plays script, again, maybe just to divert the attention of because the federal government does not know what is going on anymore. Ati confused federal government, because as much as a lot of us is confused, the federal government is not confused, but us is also confused. But one thing we need to understand is we must not allow our guard to come down. As much as like I said, I listened to that same audio. I didn't know about any other woman that died, but as the last caller said. But one thing we have done on our platform is we have tried as much as possible to continue to talk about the peace around it. People are really asking questions. I mean, half an hour before I came on air, a caller from Alimosho, one of our real comrades, they'll be traveling tomorrow. Their concern is that Mr. Koiki, that was the question he threw to me. What is going on? I'm like, what do you mean what is going on? And he started narrating a lot of things. And it's going to be difficult for somebody in my own position to sit here and in as much as we don't want people to go into that conversation, but this conversation itself is already taking us to different dimensions, and people are concerned. A lot of people are worried. Like I said, take your time and play back the first hour. It is exactly from the declaration. It is 1 month old already, so that means the Yoruba nation is 1 month old according to that declaration. And if that declaration, whether being backed by other leaders or not, the question then is, can we at least make sure that the leaders walk in line quickly with the remaining part of whatever is left? Or those that I keep saying back that, they keep quoting somebody like me that I keep saying 2023. 2023 is just about 10 days away. So whether we like it or not, the two leaders are still going to get into 2023 one way or the other. So even if Baba Akintoye declare Yoruba nation today, he cannot complete the mission of we either moving into that country, as anybody would think. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want to be misquoted. The question I have asked is, the declaration, the reclaiming or the reclamation of this declaration, is it going to bring a confrontation with the federal government? And nobody has been able to answer. Because even Baba Akintoye have said we are not going to fight. Mrs. Onitiri have said the same thing. The leader, Dr. Gowa, said the same thing. But are we going to take this country without any confrontation, where we would take back exactly what belongs to us that the British government took away from us in 1914? These are serious questions, and this question needs to be answered. Because even if the three of them work together, people will still want to see the reality of the Yoruba nation, not just on the social media, not just by talking. The paperwork is always good, and we will continue to do a lot of paperwork, because just as the UK left European Union, there is still ongoing paperwork. And these are part of the first hour conversation. If maybe you take your time after this conversation, after the program has ended, rewind back, and exactly I dealt with these at the beginning of the first hour of Niger Voices. We are already 1 month into the Yoruba Nation Declaration, which was November 20, 2022. And Chief Mrs. Oritiri have said no more declaration can come because that one is authentic. But like I also asked the question that if that declaration is an authentic declaration, even though Baba Akintoye have said he was not informed, he was not aware. Chief Mrs. Onitiri said, "Oh, I spoke to Igboho, but I'm not sure why Professor Akintoye was not involved for whatever reason known to her." But the question then is, can we then have the same leaders come together with the reclaiming, or is that reclaiming going on as you think that is being told by every one of us? Okay. The reclaiming part of it is also on the table. Now let's come to the interim government. Are we forming this government as well without Baba Akintoye, again, maybe with Dr. Sunday Igboho? And all these questions is not being cleared by millions of Yoruba people. Nobody is against whatever is going on, whether the declaration, some accept it or not. But moving forward in the way that it will bring unity quickly, then something needs to come up, and that coming up means that the three of them must be able to present themselves to all the Yorubas. If not, there will still be the division, and people will continue to ask questions. And we cannot say people shouldn't ask questions, especially when we are not running a dictatorship, in this movement. We are only trying, to play, the binary among each other. And I'm sure, So in terms of those that are now contradicting, not talk about super rally, but we are going to reclaim. There's nothing wrong in reclaiming. Is that going to cause a confrontation? And if it's not going to cause a confrontation between us and the government, everybody loves that. But how is it going to materialize? Is the superpower going to tell Nigerian government that this land now belongs to the Yoruba people? We have declared, or they have declared according to international law, which they have received documentation. And that means the Nigerian government needs to vacate the land peacefully. That will become the velvet divorce, which has happened before in Slovakia, and there was no bloodshed. And that is so beautiful. Well, you can't keep saying we shouldn't talk about the analysis. Baba have told us what they are going to tell us. Baba told us that there will be a super rally. In between that super rally, there will be a declaration. A declaration will get into transition government. That was exactly what I got on my notes. So what do you want Baba Akintoye to come and tell you again? He has actually said the same thing as far back as October 8th. And they have not come back to say anything more than that. So what do you mean by, as you come and let Baba Akintoye say the same thing? I've been telling you the same thing Baba Akintoye told you, as far back as October 8th. And I've got it in my notes. This is why we are journalists. This is not Pole Kaja. So even if Baba Akintoye is not coming out to say anything right now, he has actually said that there will be a super rally. Within that super rally, we would have a declaration. But the confusion is, some are saying that Baba Akintoye wants to take you into 2023 after Tinubu becomes the president, or he doesn't become the president. But even the declaration is not going to be completed this year, because a country will not be completed between the 10 days that we have left. Is it going to be a confrontation? Is it going to be a peaceful divorce? Nobody has come out to explain that. Are we going to leave Nigeria without any confrontation? That means all the superpower would have to tell the Nigerian government not to take any confrontation on us. mo pé kan tí mò ń sọ yé wa dáadáa bí a kì í ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ lédè tó máa yé gbogbo wa in tó lè mú Nigerian government tí a máa ká wọn lọ́wọ́ kò tí wọ́n ní lè ṣe nǹkan kan even pé a ti declare ìlú wa ó ti pé oṣù kan ìyẹn lánàá because it is exactly 1 month but ṣé ìlú tí a wá fẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ government tí a fẹ́ reclaim ṣé ó máa mú confrontation wá láàrin àwa àti ìjọba àbí wọ́n máa pè ìjọba Nàìjíríà sí ìjọba àgbáyé pé àwọn tí wọ́n nílẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n ti sọ pé àwọn làwọn nílẹ̀. If the British government release a statement tonight, which I am looking forward to, and say that we have actually dissolved the amalgamation, it will just be as beautiful, as perfect during this particular time that we are going through this crisis. Because the British to amalgamate in Nigeria. Yes, there will be self-defense. We have said that already. But with the reclaiming that we are going to be going into now, which she's going to be explaining to us tomorrow, the question is, would that reclaiming mean that everybody, Etoyini, we should all go out and take back whatever belongs to us? All the Nigerian flags must come down wherever we find it, and then we start running our own government, and then there will not be any confrontation. That means there will have been a message to the federal government to allow that peaceful transition. And all this peaceful transition would also mean that it will still lead into 2023. And that means 2023 does not mean because of the election. People seems when I hear Koiki talking about 2023, they are automatically linking it with the election. And I'm not understanding why. Because 2023, as we all know, is getting closer. So, between now, if Baba Akintoye declare Yoruba Nation tonight, if Baba Akintoye declare Yoruba Nation tonight, they have to defend it to make it authentic. But Chief Mrs. Onitiri doesn't want the same violence, just as Baba Akintoye doesn't want. None of them want violence. That is why they're saying is peace. We want peaceful exit. But how do we defend to keep it as it is without confrontation? Do we have everything it takes? If we don't have anything it takes, but in Timon Bere Gongon TI, is there going to be the Nigerian government having a confrontation, knowing that that is a country that is lawless? And nobody still can answer that question. Because Nigeria government is a lawless government. They cannot release Nnamdi Kanu, even though the court says he's not a criminal. I hope you are not talking to myself. Those of you, I can see your comment as it's coming. This is a platform that tolerates everything, but we respect, the views of our commenters. But one thing is, as a journalist, it is our right to ask questions, just as it is your own right to also ask questions. We have already been waiting. We've been listening. So we will wait again and listen. But the question is, it is going to be nice to know how all this works. Then you are just going to also say whatever is happening in Benin Republic by the leaders that have started the movement, we should just toss them off and say, you know what, drop them into the dustbin, and we are not interested to hear from them anymore. And you think everything will go smoothly. Really? Tomorrow is Oyo Town. Join us tomorrow, in Oyo Town, where the super rally continue. As Nigeria is a big elephant, it seems now that there's a killing of Nigeria taking place in one section, and another killing is going on. But I hope we will meet at the pyramid, and that's exactly what is going on right now. That is exactly what is going on right now. We are killing Nigeria gradually, and for me, it's the best. But one thing is, something will lead to something that will eventually force the system down. Sorry, I know those of you that have been calling. We actually said the call will only be up to 8 o'clock, and that means we are back into the last quarter minute of this program, which is Star Radio UK. Once again, we say good evening to those of you that are watching us from all over the world. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Nobody wants any confrontation. Nobody wants any bloodshed on the Yoruba land. But the reality is, the Fulani government that we have that brought in all the jihadis, and the British government that also created all this havoc. Everybody needs to understand that we need 5 million people outside, but people are saying that you can't get that 5 million even the way it is going now, because people are finding it very difficult to get into those towns that you're asking us to get into. And the question then is to those that are bringing the super rally out from the announcement from Dr. Sunday Igboho, we will wait to see what happened after your state. Maybe they will activate all the state, or maybe we are all then heading to Lagos State, and that way we start making Lagos feel uncomfortable. And the moment Lagos becomes uncomfortable, then you know what next is going to happen. Because if we can shut down Lagos State, which is the main revenue for the federal government, imagine the inconveniences to those international communities, the shipping line. Do you know how many ships get into Lagos State, the Apapa port? All these are something that would have a big impact, and whether the government would then have to accept that we are reclaiming back what belongs to us, and they can't do anything because a declaration has been done, and that declaration paperwork has been sent to wherever it needs to be sent to authenticate it, to make sure that this country belongs to us, and the federal government will then have to start working the remaining paperwork with us. So tomorrow is the D-Day again. Don't sit at home. For those of you in your state, you need to come out. There's no point now, burning your data to watch any of the live streaming that is coming. Why not leave that to the diaspora that are so eager to make sure that they can see what is happening? Star Radio UK is going to be on the ground. Likewise, our sister radios will be on the ground. All our media team are currently, as we speak to you right now, in the town, and they are just waiting for tomorrow. You'll be getting signal, from different cameras. You'll be listening to what they are saying. The celebration continue. It is a celebration mode. We are telling those that are coming out, we are not going out to fight anybody. We are going out to defend what belongs to us, to ask what belongs to us. Thank you so much once again to those of you, that keep those comments coming as well. Well, we appreciate it. We tolerate it. And if we can tolerate it, then also remember that people that are asking questions also have the right. So you cannot throw everything away, because if those that are in support, because we now have 2 support and 1 against, those both sides will ask questions. This is the society I have lived for the last 20 years, and this is how it works. We don't throw punches in the parliament, but we ask serious questions that could make the Prime Minister uncomfortable. Thank you so much, Mrs. Elaine Ade Korewale. Thank you so much for your comment. Yes, we're looking forward to listen to Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri tomorrow. I'm aware that she's speaking tomorrow, and in between that, we'll be listening to her as well when she's going to be speaking. Good evening to you as well, Faith Davy. It was an accident. It is part of the strategy. Somebody leaked the secret last year on the media about the Fulani plans concerning the accident that happened. The guy said the plan to start the parking the petrol trailers in some areas. So what you are saying is it wasn't an accident. Okay, so you're actually referring back to the petrol tanker that got burnt in Akpata bus stop. Good evening to you, Yeti Queen. Good evening to you, those of you on the Instagram with us, on the MixLR, on all the platforms tonight. It's been the amazing night that we're looking forward again. This time last week, we had the opportunity to hear the voice of the one and only Dr. Sunday Igboho that spoke to us right here, telling us that the Super Rally have actually started, and which then start on Saturday right at Interchange. Okay, this question around the group, I'm not going to go into that tonight. Even if Baba is in a group, as a lot of what we have been told, are we also saying that Chief Mrs. Modupe is not in a group, but she has a group of people that she's working with? Because I'm not sure she's working on her own. So the issue of the group, we got to be very careful, because she might not be in a group, but she has a group of people that she's also working with in terms of if they're setting up an interim government and in terms of whatever is happening, whether it is just voluntary, which we believe is exactly what is going on, whether it is just people that say, we just want to be part of what you are doing and we will give you all our time. So the issue about Baba Akintoye is in a group is nothing that can be valid, is invalid, because there's no way that Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, one of the leaders of the self-determination, is running the show single-handedly. She definitely also have some few people, 10, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 20, and these are groups of people, as you can call them as well. So the issue about Baba Akintoye is in a group is irrelevant in all this conversation. Thank you so much once again. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and this is Star Radio UK. Thank you so much, our mother, Ademola Yetunde JP. For those of you that contributed towards the Super Rally, we raised a good amount of money yesterday, again for Oyo State, and that money has been delivered, as we said, to those that were going to need it. We also were able to raise some other extras that has also been sent as quickly as possible for the benefit of what is going to happen tomorrow. There will be water, there will be food. The food section is being dealt from our own end, so there's no reason for you to be concerned in terms of what you're going to be eating tomorrow. The YSDM are also making their moves. Yesterday, we were able to get that there's more going into some of the rallies now, banners, flyers. Also, our sister broadcast, Koiki Media, has also produced 10,000 stickers, and all that will be heading towards the rally tomorrow as well. If you're traveling, please make sure that you have enough cell phone battery until you get to the rally. And the reason for that is, in case you get stopped by any of the police officer, you need to give somebody an information quickly. The most important thing is your location. If you can get whether the ID number of the police or the security, just in case you are traveling into your town. The governor of your state must respect our right to self-determination, must respect our rally, just as the governor of Ogun State have done. Please, 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 there is no confrontation between us and the Nigerian soldiers. Good evening to you in Miami. Good evening to every one of you. We are not fighting each other. We are all the same. Okay, we don't discuss anything security on the platform. Not everything is going to be revealed on the social media, but you must listen to instruction. Instruction will take us to where we are headed to. We need instructions from our leaders, and we need that instruction, to kick in as quickly as possible. But like I said, we wait till tomorrow when more information will be coming from one of our leaders, and we'll be discussing that right here in terms of the review. Once again, those of you say that, don't worry yourself. Nevertheless, Yoruba Nation have declared more awareness and the continuity of the rally. Thank you so much, Adebolu. Everybody has different things to say. Those of you watching us in different part of Africa, thank you so much. If you're watching me all over the world, thank you so much. Like I said, my job here is to make sure we keep the fire burning. Thank you so much. Yoruba Nation will definitely, be something that we're going to be proud of. There's no doubt in my mind. We have done a lot of work in the last 3 years, and nobody can throw that into the rubbish bin. We know that the politicians, are working tirelessly to derail the movement, and that is why they've actually come up to say Lagos State is not having a real monorail or whatever they call it. That is not going to stop the right to self-determination. The Yoruba people needs to come out in their millions as we continue to call the rally. We know logistics to get there is important, but if each state, like Oyo State, have about 7 million, I don't know, probably 5, 6 more than Ogun State, there is no reason why you cannot get there. Shout out to all those that will be heading down from Okeogun. We are always told that people from Okeogun, they come in their full force, 3 on the motorbike, about 50 of them on motorbike, and that is very, very impressive. We know that Lagos State rally will be activated. I don't know when, but let us prepare for everything as the rally will be moved outside Ibadan, or your state, but like I said, instruction will follow. Those that are trying to confuse you, especially by coming up with all different audios, as much as your audios does not take you to anywhere, you can release as many audio as the video or any of the Yoruba artists. It's just an audio. It doesn't make any difference to some of us that we listen to those audio. One thing is, I am still who I am, and 2023 is not what we stand for, but there's nobody that can guarantee and say that the paperwork that would eventually finish the job of the Yoruba Nation movement will not lead to 2023. So if anybody's telling you that 2023, the continuity, because even if a declaration has been done, it has not yet been completed. So it is still an ongoing one. And even if Babakito is going to declare as well, it is an ongoing one. But the moment that there's a crisis, there's anarchy, then be rest assured that the international community will then get involved, and we will still come into a kind of a dialogue. Not dialogue to support Nigerian government, not dialogue because we want to remain in Nigeria, but dialogue now for a dissolution of Nigeria. This is how far I can go. Good evening to you, Olayomi and all the team of the Star Radio UK. Thank you so much, my beautiful auntie Ademola, Yetunde JP, all our grandmothers. We love every one of you, and let us not put hatred among ourselves. We are not the Fulanis, we are the Yorubas that are fighting for the same identity. And I'm sure all these issues will be resolved, and I can trust myself on that. And I'm going to hand over now to my own co-producer, Mr. Archie, that is waiting behind the scene there to take over from me. And I say thank you so much to all our listeners from around the world. Next week, I'm sure there will be better things to discuss. For those of you that will be celebrating Christmas, those of us that are probably thinking Christmas is not for me, remember that it's still the festival mode. Enjoy it as much as you can. It is only one life, and we pray for our brother that died. We pray for the family that he left behind. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and it's been my pleasure hosting this program tonight. I'll be back same time next week. Bye for now. And this is our last track. We'll be back next week again. Bye for now. Join me again next week, Wednesday, on Star Radio UK, where we continue with more programs. Tomorrow is your town Super Rally Oja Akesan from 9 o'clock in the morning. One people, one culture, one language. Yoruba people are ready to go. Yoruba nation, Thank you so much. Sammy Solo, thank you so much. Believe Yourself channel, thank you so much. Adileye Taiwo, thank you so much. Thank you so much, African Confidential. Kola Wale Olushola. Victoria, thank you so much. Once again, we'll be back next week for more program. Good evening once again to everyone. Next week, we'll be back again. Latif Salami, thank you so much. Daudu Olayomi, thank you. And you're lucky, thank you so much. Okay, the sound is breaking. Okay. So sorry about that. Not sure why. Just waiting for the studio to take over in just about 2 minutes. Thank you so much, Bamidele Mohammed. Thank you so much, Ajibade. Oluwatosin Onosonya, thank you so much. Nigeria, man.